but it wasn't written by one person. There's 4 different gospels. There's a whole group of people involved in it. But one thing I will say, they're all basically Paulinists. So they're people who have already, been co-opted into the Pauline movement, if you want to call it that. And this is basically Gentile Christianity. I don't think even Paul isn't a Jew. He's an Herodian, but nobody knows that because no one looks at these things seriously. They like to listen to the, lovely butterflies in the sky aspects to it, and they like pretty things. Oh, the Romans were certainly somewhat behind him, but since he was an Herodian family member, that whole contingent of people who were members and associated in their power with that family and with the Roman power would certainly have been pleased or felt better because of a pacification and Romanization of a revolutionary movement in Palestine. So this is what we get in the scripture, in the Pauline letters, and so on. The Gentile nations who accepted them for some, but it didn't happen immediately. It happened over a 1,000-year period. It wasn't something immediate. Then it becomes the official religion of the Roman Empire under Constantine. And once that happens, you're going to get a huge amount of people coming in, and that's what happened. Of course, you have the barbarian so-called invasions that interrupt the process substantially. So he ends up moving the whole thing to Constantinople, because it isn't going to survive on the Italian peninsula. And he moves the whole thing to Constantinople, and that becomes called Constantinople after him. And that becomes the center of his Christianity for the next, number of 300 or 400 years until, Constantinople is taken by the Muslims and the Arabs, until Christianity takes it in the 16th century, and so on and so forth. But Rome becomes the center after the Arabs take over Constantinople. So things begin to center in Rome. But these people are coming in under a lot of different pressures and things from the period 300 to 600 or so. So you don't get a huge influx into Christianity in the 100, 200s. So, but the Christianity they're coming into is a very friendly, imperial friendly form, that's been totally Paulinized. They wouldn't come into the Dead Sea Scrolls, I can assure you. That you can even laugh at that. And maybe that's good. They're happy and it's nice. It creates a nice fellowship and kinship. That's good. But I'm talking historically. I'm not talking about feel-good positions. I'm feeling what the history is. Now, the book of Acts, which is similar to the gospel material, for the first 15 chapters is ahistorical. But in chapter 16, that's where a shift occurs. You get what's called the we document, which is obviously based on someone's travel document, probably Luke's. And suddenly you're talking about, we did this, I did this. It starts with the so-called Jerusalem conference in chapter 16, where James gives the instructions. James, he appears out of nowhere. How come he suddenly appears in the book of Acts? Before that, we had James and John, the son of Zebedee, or Zippity-Doo-Dah, as I like to call them. I mean, these are not historical figures. These are not, you can't prove these people, and they're not even functioning by the time James appears. And the book of Acts doesn't even tell us who this James is. It called him originally in Paul, James, the brother of Jesus, but it never introduced him to us, And then suddenly James is leading the early church in Acts 16 at the so-called Jerusalem conference, and he's giving instructions to everyone what they should do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and there's no prelude. Well, anyway, it goes on like that for the next 10 chapters or so. Santiago de Compostela. And Santiago is, guess what? St. James. And St. James de Compostela. So every Christian thinks, oh, we're going to see James, the son of Zebedee. No, you're not. No, you're not. this is a fictionalized character probably, but we don't know anything about what happened to that character. Even I always say James, the son of James and John, the sons of Zippity Doodah. I mean, that's a created twosome to cover up the other James. So suddenly they disappear in the Gospels, and James suddenly appears in the latter part of the book of Acts. What happened is James was thrown off the temple wall, according to Josephus and Eusebius, and he was buried where he fell in below the temple wall there in Jerusalem. Probably it was never probably an ossuary even for his name, but at some point some people probably dug him up. I think some Armenians, because the Armenians say that his bones were in their church. And when the Muslims come, they probably had the opportunity to take the bones away, or felt they had to take the bones away. And where did they take them? Probably to Santiago de Compostela. And that's where people are making their pilgrimage to this very day, and rightly so, but they don't know which James they're going to. And I think it's the real James, not the fictionalized one. The Dead Sea Scrolls are absolutely 100% behind the law, maybe, and they don't approve of rabbinic Judaism, which is interpreting the law somewhat like Christianity is, to make it survivable within the Roman Empire, so that the rabbinic Jews don't get slaughtered in the way the Qumran type Jews, the Zealot type Jews, the Messianic Jews, as I would call them. And Jesus is reportrayed as a Paulinist in the Gospels. And we have a Paulinized Jesus, whoever Jesus was. We don't have enough historical data about Jesus other than the Gospels. So if you put the Gospels aside, you almost have nothing, if he even existed as such, because we have historical material about James quite a lot in the early church fathers. That's why I could write a 1,000-page book about James, because, we have quite a huge amount of material about James. So we can reconstruct what James was. And then when you start to reconstruct him, you begin to see that in Christian literature, why would this be happening? Everyone is calling him James the Just, James the Righteous One, James the Tzaddik, James the Righteous Teacher. In effect, James parallels, once you move the date of the scrolls back to contemporary materials with his movement, James's movement parallels the scroll movement. And once you see there's a teacher that parallels James and is always called a Tzaddik and is the teacher of righteousness, then the two can be amalgamated, and you finally have that the scrolls are the Messianic movement in Palestine, which is why I subtitled this one book here, my latest collection of essays, A New Interpretation of the Messianic Movement in Palestine. That's the name I now give to the Dead Sea Scrolls when I write about it. It's the actual Messianic movement in Palestine, but it's not pro-Roman. It doesn't like Roman centurions. It doesn't believe in turning the other cheek. It believes in the final apocalyptic war against all evil on earth, led by the holy angels who are going to come down to their camps. I started with that, and I'll finish with that. The holy angels are coming down to their camps. How and why? They have to be so righteous that the holy angels can join the camps. If there's any impurity in the camps or whatever, the holy angels will be subjected to it, lose their purity, and not be able to go back up to heaven. They have to, in order to come down and go back up to heaven, enter a perfectly righteous camp. That's why they're bathing all the time. They're immersing daily. They're daily bathers. That's why they're following all these purity regulations down to the last letter of the law, because I know to us it strikes us as romantically bizarre, but they believe the angels are coming down into their camps, and with the angels they have their atomic bomb. And that is going to make the difference. I'm sure the War of 66 was envisioned in that way, but all these bad things happen on the way, and they ended up at Masada. They don't have the holy angels joining their camps, unfortunately, but they do end up on Masada committing suicide.
Ooh wee, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Give me a Yahoo if I can be heard. Professor Robert Eisenman, Going over who wrote the New Testament briefly. I'm gonna post all these links. Got a couple more for y'all. Give me a second. Give me a second. I got some more for y'all. All good. All good. Good to see y'all in the building. Bless up. All right, let's get to another. We ain't here to exchange fancy and smooth soliloquies. Let's work. Let's work. I got another one for y'all. Watch this. Watch this one right here. Another scholar, Dr. Robert Price. Check him out.
So, but nobody really knows. It's hard to tell. You only have.
So this cat right here is a former Baptist minister. Yeah, he a PhD as well. Check it out.
So, but nobody really knows. It's hard to tell. You only have copies of the Pauline epistles in the early 3rd century, shortly after about 200. And yet even these dates are in dispute because a lot of them are settled by means of paleography, trying to set up a dating system based on the style of handwriting used in the copies we have. And we used to think that was pretty ironclad. And now scholars like Brent Nongbre argue that no, you jump the gun, you're dating all these things too early. The evidence is not that convincing. So could be from the 40s to 100 years later. One thing is, when did Paul live? When did he die? Traditionally, they say, well, he died around 62 AD or CE. Nero beheaded him. How do we know that? Where does that come from? Well, that's mentioned in some way in a book called The First Epistle of Clement, but there is no name on that document. It's just tradition that says that Clement, the Bishop of Rome, wrote it. It is a hugely long, I think 60 chapters of all kinds of stuff that kind of look like people kept adding to it. And it's when it's the little it says of Peter and Paul is that they both died because of envy or jealousy. Now, what is that supposed to mean? It doesn't really explain it, but we have several apocryphal books of Acts. There's the Acts of Paul, the Acts of Peter and Paul, Acts of Andrew, Matthias, John, Thomas, and so forth. Well, in 2 or 3 of them that pretend they're telling you what happened with Paul, kind of adding it on to the book of Acts that's in the canonical New Testament. They do talk about the martyrdom of Paul, and it is under Nero, but it explains what the envy or jealousy was. These books have Paul teaching what's called encretism, that the celibacy gospel, that the original sin was sex, and to be saved, you have to renounce it. You can keep living with your spouse, but don't touch. And that's the only way to do it. And several of these books say that. And Paul, for instance, is preaching that. And women who are married or engaged hear this and say, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I want spiritual renewal. This is the way to get it. Go, Paul. Well, their husbands and fiancés are not too thrilled about this, and they happen to be highly placed. They have the ear of the governor or the king, and they say, look, you got to do something about this guy. He's some kind of charlatan who's alienating our wives from us. And he says, okay, and imprisons Paul. And eventually this leads to his martyrdom. The preaching that you can't have sex. So he dies, and in the Acts of Paul, he is beheaded at the order of Nero, and then comes walking back in the room with his head firmly attached and says basically to Nero, "You're next," and he leaves. But then his disciples, he's still dead somehow, and his disciples go out to his tomb and find that there is an incandescent circle of light around the door, and there's Paul. He's alive again, and he ascends into heaven. What? This is our documentation for the martyrdom of Paul? Come on. It's obviously fantastic fiction. Yeah, you get the same kind of thing with the Apostle John. They boiled him in oil, and it was just a warm bath. I mean, obviously, fake legendary material. And I say we don't really know when Paul died. Do we know who Paul was? There's another biggie. There is a theory that I have to take very seriously. F.C. Bauer and other great New Testament scholars noticed that Paul seems to be doubled in early Christian literature, that he seems to be the same guy known as Simon Magus, Simon the sorcerer, who's mentioned in the book of Acts and various other things. He seems to have existed. Josephus, the historian, mentions him. He was part of the entourage of some of the Roman governors of Palestine, and he was sort of a Rasputin figure. He taught Gnosticism, etc. Well, Gnostics claimed that Paul was the fountainhead of their teaching. They could even tell you which disciples of Paul taught their gurus. But the Catholic Church fathers said, oh no, Simon Magus was the root of all the heresies. Sort of sounds like they're talking about the same guy. And there are various reasons for this. I won't petrify you with them, but I think that it's very likely that they were the same character, and that neither one of them wrote any of the epistles with Paul's name on them. Now, why is that? Well, there seem to be anachronisms if you measure them by the traditional date of his death. In First Thessalonians, and I think in Romans also, there are references to the fall of the Jerusalem temple in 70 AD as a past event. Well, that doesn't quite fit. Either Paul died later than we thought, or there's similar problems with John the Baptist in the Gospels. He apparently died around 36, whereas Jesus is supposedly crucified around 30. Well, the same thing here. Who was the intended audience of the Pauline epistles? There's this great quote, I think, from either Samuel Neighbor or A.D. Lohman, who were like Van Manen. They rejected the Pauline authorship. And he said that to imagine, I mean, given who the Galatians were, way out in the sticks of Asia, to imagine Paul writing the epistle to the Galatians with its arguments from allegory and this and that. He says it's like imagining Hegel lecturing to New Guinea savages. Like, is there any way that this was written to the bumpkins and hillbillies out there in the Mediterranean world? Well, okay, that implies what, I believe it's Philip R. Davies, recently deceased Old Testament scholar. What he says about the Old Testament books, I think, applies equally to the New Testament, that these were not for popular consumption. I mean, most people couldn't have had a copy to read. I mean, there weren't any printing presses or anything. It was written by scribes for other scribes. For instance, you can pick up, like comparing the Gospels and assuming that Luke, for instance, used Mark and added things and changed things. If you look closely, as Hans Kanzelmann and others have done, you come up with surprising patterns of redaction or editing, saying, I think this is what Luke was getting at, and he was trying to change what Mark said. I mean, it's really convincing, and a lot of scholars are convinced. Well, who could have recognized this? I mean, common fundamentalist readers today who are personally quite intelligent, they have their own copies. They're oblivious of it. It's not because they're stupid. They just have a different kind of popular reason for reading it. Oh, I want to see what the Holy Spirit has to say to me through the text and all that. You're just not going to notice the kind of differences. You may say, well, this is odd, differs here, but who cares? It's the Word of God. I'm not interested in the picky stuff. Well, that implies that these books were written for people who would get it. And that would have to be scribes, like rabbis, or just copyists of the text, the only people who could have any kind of close familiarity with them. And so who would that be in the Church of Corinth, for instance? Probably nobody. There's a difference between narratees and the really intended audience. That is, if it isn't really written by Paul and it's not really written to the rank and file Corinthian church, though that's what it says, right? You're dealing with something that's a kind of a fiction. And when it says, oh, Corinthians, this and that, that's like Paul talking to the Athenian philosophers in Acts 17. It's really a kind of fictional setup. Who is it really written to? Well, Gnostic theoreticians. The first Paulinists we actually know of, the first Christians that defined themselves by these writings, the first ones who ever wrote any commentaries were Gnostics and Marcionites, who had radically different theology than what became Catholicism or Orthodoxy. And there is a surprising silence by early Christians. We have some of their writings in the early 2nd century. They hardly mention Paul. Justin Martyr, who wrote voluminously, he never mentions Paul. Others seem to be studiously avoiding him. How's that possible if he was so important as we always think? Well, apparently they either never heard of him or didn't like him. And you can tell that in Acts and in 2nd Peter and other writings, there are much later attempts to sort of bring him into the fold by reinterpreting him. That's very clear in 2nd Peter. And I won't go into all the reasons for it, but this implies that it was written by and for Gnostics and Marcionites. And I think that's true. Then you have some, like the pastoral epistles, written by Catholic Christians later to try to co-opt Paul and those letters by revising them, interpolating them, and giving you a framework to understand them in a kind of a safe way. And so it seems to me that it's just fiction to say, oh yeah, these were written to these rural and urban churches, congregations. Probably not. Probably just an elite group. Who else would have had the chance to read them?
Oh, way, we up in here cooking this evening. We in her cooking. Somebody big mad. Somebody God just fell. Hold on. A real short one right here. Y'all check this one out. It ain't even 5 minutes long.
This episode is entitled YAHKANON subtly exposes Paul's hate for 12 apostles in his 2006 book New Testament. Code This is a review of Robert Eisenman's treatment of Paul in his work The New Testament Code, London, Watkins Publishing, 2006, a voluminous work exceeding 1,000 pages. It has numerous references to Paul. We shall review the major references to Paul's attacks on super-apostles and pseudo-apostles. Eisenman puts these quotes side by side so we can deduce who is the target, none other than James and the 12 apostles, as many others before him deduced. Page 569. Apostolic Credentials, Boasting and the Apostles of Surpassing Degree, in Paul. The notices we have just encountered above, about persons dogging Paul's footsteps with a contrary doctrine, are rife throughout Paul's letters, and he repeatedly and often bitterly complains, as we have seen, about just that sort of thing. FN 44. Yet specialists are either still unwilling or unable to determine who these ubiquitous, some or certain ones, he is constantly complaining about, are. For instance, in 1 Corinthians 9 verses 1-2 he asserts, "Have I not seen Jesus Christ our Lord? Are you not my work in the Lord? Even if I were not an apostle to others, I should still be an apostle to you, who are the seal of my apostleship in the Lord. This is my answer to those who would examine me." Eisenman's translation. Compare, am I not an apostle? Am I not free? Have I not seen Jesus Christ our Lord? Are not you my work in the Lord? If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless I am to you, for the seal of my apostleship are you in the Lord. KJV 2000. Paul's wounded pride here is self-evident. So is his feeling of inferiority to those above him whom he refers to in 2 Corinthians 11 verses 13-15, as already underscored as well, by phrases such as super-apostles, Hebrews, and finally, as we have several times had occasion to remark, even pseudo-apostles, dishonest workmen transforming themselves into servants of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. Once again, in this last, note the purposeful play on Jamesian doctrine. Not only is the terminology like servants of righteousness clearly reflected in the Dead Sea Scrolls, but the whole phraseology plays off of the unmistakably Jamesian approach to works righteousness. FN 44. Page 570. Continuing on the subject of apostolic credentials in 2 Corinthians 3 verse 1, Paul asks rhetorically, his wounded pride and feelings of inferiority again painfully evident, do we begin again to commend ourselves to you? Then, alluding to the ever-recurring issue of not having official, written letters of apostolic appointment from James, much like a rabbi or some churchmen have today, a theme which actually permeates the run-up in 2 Corinthians 10 verses 9-18 to his evocation in 11:13 above of the dishonest workmen transforming themselves into apostles of Christ, Jib. Unlike some, clearly implying the Hebrew super-apostles, we need no letters of recommendation either to you or from you. Eisenman has a very incisive approach to various statements by Paul, highlighting that a theme runs through Paul that Paul knows he lacks apostolic credentials blessed by the Church of Jerusalem led by the 12 apostles. As proof, Eisenman cites 2 Corinthians 10 verses 19-18 that Paul is glad the Corinthians accept him without any letters of recommendation. Second, 1 Corinthians 9 verses 1-2 where Paul said his credentials were those who accepted him became, by their very existence, a seal or proof of his apostleship. Eisenman ties these very cogently together to prove Paul's self-awareness that he lacked apostolic credentials.
Oh, wait, oh, wait, oh, wait. Yes, sir. We cooking today. We cooking today. Good to see y'all in the building. Bless up, clip up. Creative gang in the building. Good to see y'all. I see y'all in the chat. Salute to my sister Stephanie Randall. She said she took that leap today. Got off them animal sandwiches in the back of them chickens. That's what's up, sis. Bless up, bless up. I see y'all in the building. Can I be heard, Cole? Let me know if I can be heard. Let me know if I can be heard. All right, give me a 7 up in the chat if I can be heard. Good to see y'all. Kila, Yehuda, Bezel, my brother, set apart living. I see y'all. I see y'all in the building. But as y'all see, the scholars, see that what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people talking crazy about what's being brought out, but the scholars are even saying the same thing. You see what I'm saying? What I done found out is that the scholars, even if they all don't agree, what they all agree on is that Paul taught something different than the apostles. And that's why he was, you know, always trying to defend his position, defend his apostleship, defend what he was on, you know what I mean? So the class today is Saul of Tarsus, Roman intelligence, friend or foe. And we're going to examine it. We're going to examine what it is. First and foremost, we're going to examine his apostleship. All right, his claim to being an apostle. And we just going to work. And then majority of the stuff is really his letters. He telling you exactly what it is and what's going on in his day, and then how, you know, he really out there doing his own thing. And that's hard for a lot of people to grasp. That's hard for a lot of people to understand today, because we didn't came to the understanding or grew so we think to believe that Paul was on one accord with the apostles. That's not true. His own letters tell you that. The thing is, we got to slow it down. Take a breath, take a breather, and slow roll through them deals. You understand? And you'll see it clear as day, clear as a whistle. But first and foremost, let's examine who is an apostle. All right, let's go here first to the basics. You know what I mean? Hit the basics real quick, and then we can roll. All right, then we can roll. Let's hit the basics. All right, first I'm gonna go jump over to Acts, the first chapter. All right, dealing with the biblical narrative. This what it is. You feel me? It's a lot of people starting to wake up and see it though. Like, dang, okay, right? When you get to history, and when you learn to differentiate between history and literature, you understand? You'll be at a very, it'll be, put it this way, the light will turn on for you even more. You got to learn to differentiate though. And once you start looking at like history and certain things that was written, and then lining it up and be real with yourself, you know what I mean? You'll be like, oh, I see that. That makes sense. You know what I mean? That makes sense. And on the real, I mean, I'm like me, myself, I got so many videos on YouTube defending Paul. Defending him. You feel me? But what I was dealing with was the scriptures that the Christians don't deal with, dealing with Paul. That's what Paul is pro Torah in certain scriptures. You understand? But we not realizing that that he being double-minded. You know what I mean? There are times when he's talking against what's going on, baby? I see you. I'm live. Clock in. I get with you. Okay. It's my daughter, yeah. I got her hair done. But there are times when he's speaking, I mean, his position is totally against the Torah. Totally. And there are times when he's on trial and he has to play it like, yeah, I believe everything written in the law and the prophets. You see what I'm saying? So the Christianity a lean to the side of Paul, where Paul say, you ain't justified by the works of the law, but by faith and grace and all that. And then the bruise, the messianic bruise, shalom to the fam. You already know, right? We stick to the side that say, okay, no, the law is good. The law is spiritual. The law is this, you know, not realizing that Paul is a double-minded man. That's who James was talking about. See, when you really look at it, you'll see they responded to each other. They responded to each other. About the man who can't bridle his tongue, his religion is vain. James talking about Paul. They respond. Look, flip open Galatians and flip open James and read them side by side. Chapter 1 over here, chapter 1 over there, chapter 2 over there. They're responding to each other. It's crazy. It's like, dang. You understand? So about him not being able to bridle his tongue. He's talking about Paul too. Man, Paul was cursing them. Paul put it on record and said, if anybody bring you anything other than what we, talking about his crew, what we have brought you, man or angel, count them down. He cursed them. Count them a curse. Doomed for destruction. You never ask yourself, why does this man constantly got to defend his ministry? What is going on with that? Who's attacking? Who got the authority to even attack his ministry? Who are the apostles? You see? So right here, Acts 1 and 21. Let's get into this first. I want to deal with this. All right, some of the basics. All right. According to the apostles, who is an apostle? Then and now. All right, let's deal with it. Check the chat. Bang, bang, bang. All right. Okay, yeah. All right, so look at this right here. Acts 1 and 21. Wherefore of these men. Now, this is, if you're going with the biblical narrative, this is Shimon Kepha, who you know is Peter. Peter is talking. He says, wherefore of these men which have company with us all the time. Not some of the time. Not part-timing. All the time that the Master Yeshua went in and out among us. You had to be a day one. You had to be a day one to be an apostle. You had to know him, laugh with him, eat with him, learn from him. You understand? Hug on him. Like you had to be like down. Like what you mean? The whole time. Look at this, verse 22. Beginning from the baptism or the immersion of YAHKANON or baptism of John until that same day that he was taken up from us. Must one be ordained to be a witness with us of his resurrection. So this is when people claim they ordained apostles and all that, they saying they fit the criteria. They claim they day ones. They claim they day ones. They've been there from the beginning. Right? The whole time. And the whole time from the baptism or the immersion to the resurrection. You had to been there to be an apostle. And it says, must one be ordained? Right? Now, how does this ordination go forward? Does it go forward, you know what I mean? Just song and dance, or somebody just, read a few books, read a few chapters, find out they're an Israelite, they ordained now. How does this ordination take place? What happened? Let's keep reading. Verse 23. And they appointed two, Joseph called Barsabah, who was surnamed Justice, and Mattathias. And look what they did. This is the ritual the apostles did to choose the next apostle. And they prayed and said, Thou, Master, which knowest the hearts of all men, show whether these two thou hast chosen. So this ordination, you claiming you an ordained apostle, whatever you claiming you are these days, ordained whatever. You understand? Make sure it's lining up. You going with the biblical narrative, right? So they got spiritual with it. Right? You show us who you choose to take that position that Judas fell from. Look at this. First Acts 1:25. That he may, just in case anybody say it don't say nothing about being an apostle. Look at this. That he may take part of this ministry and what? Apostleship. Apostleship. You see that? Apostleship. Look at that. You had to be a day one, and you had to been there from what? The beginning, the immersion by YAHKANON, the immerser, or John the Baptist, until the resurrection, until Yeshua was taken up, until he ascended. You did. Must one be ordained? That's what it said. That's what it said. Let's jump back up. What is this? Verse 22. Right here. Must one be ordained to be a witness with us of his resurrection? Jump on down. That he may take part of his ministry that he may take part of this ministry. So whenever you hear somebody talking about my gospel, the apostles never called it their gospel or their ministry. Never, not one time. This ministry. And what? Apostleship. From which Yahudah by transgression fell that he might go down to his own place. Apostleship. Apostleship. What did it say? In the New Testament, the office and dignity of the apostles of Christ or Messiah, apostleship. The office and dignity. Then they say down here the commission. It sounds like some mafia type. You dig? The commission. All right, to send forth with authority, basically. All right, that he may take part of this ministry and apostleship from which Yahudah by transgression fell, that he might go to his own place. And they gave forth their lots. Now look what they did. They prayed on it. They invoked the spirit, right? And then they did something spiritual. The ritual was the lots, ancient dice. And however these rocks of dice fall or land determines who is going to be the next apostle. You mean tell me they actually threw dice? They prayed about it and threw some dice to determine, or cast lots to determine who was going to be the next apostle. You see? None of this happened with Paul. None of it. All right? And they gave forth their lots, and the lot fell upon Mattathias, and he was numbered with the 11 apostles. All right, now, you can be a student of one of these apostles, but if that don't fit you, then you just not no apostle. They go for Paul all the way up to the brother that be on side of the TV calling himself an apostle. Or the elders of GMS calling themselves apostles. Nah, Jack, sadly mistaken. All y'all. All y'all mistaken. You see that? So right there is the criteria of being an apostle. If you understand that the criteria of being an apostle is you had to be a day one. You had to be a witness of the immersion and the resurrection. They invoke the spirit and then they cast lots. Right? You can look at it like dice, rocks, or whatever. They threw this inanimate object, and however it fall and land, decides, well, who's about to be the next apostle. You see that? Oh, wait. So if you understand what the criteria is of being an apostle, give me a one up in the chat. Give me a one up in the chat. Bless up, bless up, bless up. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. All right. All right, they mentioned something that I thought was very, 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 very interesting. But again, you got to slow down. You got to slow down. All right. His whole claim to apostleship is in his vision on his way to Damascus. You got to start there. All right. That's his whole claim to apostleship, the vision that he had. Yeah. Now the disciple, no apostles. There are no apostles in that. You can be a student of one of theirs. You know what I mean? You could be in a long line of those who took the teachings and, used that to bless others. But there are no apostles today because we see the criteria. The criteria is you had to be a day one. Ain't no other way around it unless that doesn't mean what it says. You know what I mean? Now, I know it's a lot of people, like, I understand. You feel me? Like me, like I just told you, I got probably the most videos on YouTube to the day defending this man. Period. And anybody that known me for a while tell you that. You feel me? But I never too busy precepting. Never slowed down and just, feel me? Oh, hold on. He got some static over here. Who he staticking with? Who was this man cursing? Who he calling the false apostles? Who are the apostles? Why does he have to defend his ministry? What was he told to teach? Who was the leader of Yahshua's movement? What was their discipline? See, all these questions start like, hold on. And then you start getting into the compiling of what you call the New Testament. Start getting to the compilation of it. You feel me? And as for me, I still wholeheartedly believe in the Creator, the ever-present, the Almighty. I still follow teachings of Mashiach or Messiah. But whatever I'm reading that's against the Creator's creation, so I read something that don't line up with the Most High's creation. You understand? It don't sit right, then it's under scrutiny dealing with me. It's under scrutiny. I'm examine it, question it, and I'm do all that. Now look at Paul right here, 1 Corinthians 9:1. Am I not an apostle? Am I not free? Have I not seen Jesus Christ our Lord? Or not ye my work in the Lord? He's saying that the church of Corinth is his work in the master. And he's asking a question to them. Am I not an apostle? Who was questioning Paul's apostleship? What y'all don't realize is Paul was in opposition to the apostles in Jerusalem, the ones that rolled with Mashiach. Specifically, his brother James. James was his younger brother by like 2 years. So come on now, why do you think people like the founder of the 7-day Adventists, Ellen G. Weiss, I think that's her name, Ellen G. Weiss or White, something like that. She'll tell you in her writings that Paul understood Jesus better than James and Peter and them. I know an Israelite elder that says that. Out of New York, he says it. He said it to me one time when he tried to call in when I was being interviewed over on FOPE. Salute to the fam. I was over there getting interviewed like last year. Everybody was mad. I said in the hot seat, like, whatever. Ask your question. So anyway, he called in. He said the same thing. That Paul understood the Messiah better than his own blood brother and disciples. I said, good night. How is that possible? What do you mean? You can't possibly believe that. That's impossible. All right. Look at this. Verse 2. If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless I am to you. Look at that. So again, Paul's apostleship was being questioned at every turn. Why? Because what he was teaching was not in line with what the apostles in Jerusalem were teaching. Something totally different. You understand? That's why he asked him the question, am I not an apostle? Am I not free? Meaning he's not up under the authority of the apostles in Jerusalem. Because remember, in Acts 15, James stood up, gave a judgment to Paul and Barnabas. He said, all right, well, chill with the circumcision for right now. But look, abstain from meats offered to idols, and from things strangled, and from blood, and from fornication. So when you ask anybody, what are the meats offered to idols according to the Torah that we have as we dietary law, keeping Hebrews? Well, what are the meats offered to the idols according to the Torah? Nobody knows. Nobody has an answer. You dig? So then we start going through the Torah. Leviticus here, Leviticus there, Deuteronomy there. You feel me? Then we get into the historical understanding of it. Like, hold on. These brothers was, every historian to tell you James and them was plant-based, vegetarian. Men never, like most of them were Nazarites from their mama's womb. They like that. Them brothers never drank nothing. Them brothers never ate no flesh and never drank no wine or no liquor. Them brothers was dedicated. What you talking about? Them brothers was dedicated. Now James is Yahshua's brother. You get into the Acts of Peter, what we call the Nazarene Acts or the Clementine homilies. Peter straight tell you how he eat potted herbs and bread and olives. He straight tell you what the meats are offered to the idols and herb. We can pull it up. I went over it last video. We can pull it up. He tell you flat out that is dead flesh. Abstain from that because that don't please the Creator. So now you see Paul saying in the last days, men shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, commanding to abstain from meats a commanding to abstain from meats which God hath created to be received for all them who believe and know the truth. So he's like, oh, that's Malaki, Maccabee, the nigga fell off. Not knowing that was the war in his day. The apostles were not flesh eaters. A little bit of research to show you that. You know what I mean? Historically, we got the Nazarene, the same literatures too. Before we even get into any of that, we'll deal with the Bible. We'll deal right with the Bible. Show what it is, and then, you know, we'll thoroughly get down. You see what I'm saying? So Paul was highly compromised. You look at it through a historical lens and then look at it and then trip off this. His letters are very valuable. Look at his letters. Look at his letters. This one is letters right here. If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless I am to you. For the seal of mine apostleship are ye in the Lord. Verse 3. My answer to them that do examine me is this. What you mean examine? Who was examining Paul? Who are the apostles? I may not be an apostle to some, but doubtless I am to you. Hold on. Either you an apostle or not. What you mean to some? Look at this. My answer to those who examine or judge me, right? Those investigating Paul, scrutinizing him, sifting, questioning him, right? To interrogate, examine the accused or witness. Like what he was doing out there was catching fire from the apostles. Fire. To judge of, estimate, determine the excellence or defects of any person or thing. So Paul was out there, ministry was being challenged. All right? Being challenged. All right? This right here. So he telling you in his own letters, like, look, I ain't, you know, we all don't agree. Look at this right here. My answer to them that do examine me is this. Have we not power to eat and to drink? Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of the master and Cephas? So he's admitting that they are the apostles. He's admitting it. You dig? Look at that. Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of the master and Cephas? You see, so look at that right there. His ministry is under fire. Let's drop that. Let's jump over here. Show you something. Go over to 1 Corinthians 11. What do you think the man talking about? Put in it. Look at him in verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even like he telling the whole assembly at Corinth to follow him. Why is he saying this? Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Huh? Look at this. Let's jump down. Oh, man, where am I at? 1 Corinthians. We have 2 Corinthians. My bad. But that's good. We went there though, so you can see. Look, he's telling the assembly at Corinth to follow him. Ain't I an apostle? If I ain't an apostle to other people, I am to you. My answer to them who examine and judge me is this. Don't we got the power to, as the other apostles? Now look at this. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 11. That's what I meant. But I'm glad we went to that 1 Corinthians 11. Because he's telling the people to follow him. Why would he need to tell the people that if they was already on board with what he was teaching? Think about it. Think about it. Look at that. Paul defends his apostleship. Here it is again. This dude, man. Why? What you got to defend your apostleship? Look at this. He just told you Cephas and all them were apostles. Don't we got the right to do that like them? Look at this, 2 Corinthians. Follow me, because I follow Christ. 2 Corinthians 11 and 13. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Messiah. Y'all, there's only one set of apostles out there outside of Paul. There ain't no other apostles. The only apostles are in Jerusalem. Who is he talking about? Put a name on them. Name them. Surely you can name them. Because Paul admits that these men, Peter, James, John, are apostles, and then he started talking crazy about them. So we ain't got to do no guesswork. We ain't got to do no licking of the finger. We ain't got to do none of that. He acknowledges they are apostles and then throw them up under the bus later on. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their work. Look at that. Let's go look at a different version. It ain't hard. Only one reason you got to defend what you got is because you are under attack. Why are you being attacked? Who are the other apostles? Who are the other apostles? We just showed you what it takes to be an apostle. That's Acts, the first chapter, verse 21 and 22. You had to be a day one. You had to know Messiah, right? You had to be there from what? The baptism to the ascension, the resurrection. Must one be ordained to be a witness of the resurrection and to take part in this ministry and the apostleship. You see? So he tell you who he talking about. You don't even got to guess. He names these men. You ain't got to do no guesswork. You ain't got to do no licking of the finger. Oh, maybe he was talking to so-and-so. Nah. So look at this. NLT. These people are false apostles. They are deceitful workers who disguise themselves as apostles of Messiah. Dang. Who disguise themselves as apostles of Messiah. Dang, that's crazy. Look at this. For such men are false apostles, deceitful workmen, disguising themselves as apostles of Messiah. Y'all, there's only one group of apostles, even according to Paul out there. Outside of himself, there's only one group of apostles. You see? Now his whole claim to fame is in his vision. It's in his vision. All right. So let's do this right here. I want to show y'all something. All right, y'all getting some understanding so far? Give me a 8 up in the chat. Bless up, bless up. We show you what it takes to be an apostle, and then we show you Paul defending his apostleship. Why? Why does he have to defend it? Why does he have to defend it? It's a lot going on with dude, man. Do you realize he makes his boast of being an Israelite, a Benjamite in particular, and he has Roman citizenship. Where they do that at? Where they do that at? He's problematic before his conversion, before his so-called quote-unquote conversion, and after. And after. It's just the truth. I know a lot of people don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? But if you just step back and look at it for what it is, you'll be like, hold on, that dude say that. That's crazy. Let's go over here. I'm going to do the multiple verse retrieval real quick. We're going to do Acts 9 and 7. We're going to do Acts 22. What is that? 9 through 11. Acts 22. Acts 22, 9 through 11. Then we're going to do Acts 26. All right, these are 3 different accounts of Paul's conversion. We'll do 12 through 15 on that one. And now watch this. Watch this. Now, this is his whole claim to being an apostle, y'all. In fact, and Galatians. Let's do Galatians 1. That's where he cursed everybody. Galatians 1. Yeah, let me do that. Galatians. This is his whole claim. All right, Galatians 1. Let's do 12. Like through 16, 17, something like that. No, I'm gonna go on down 19, because that's what he called James an apostle and the brother of Messiah. All right, let me go ahead and retrieve that. Let's work. Let me show y'all something. Now, this is Paul's whole This is Paul's whole claim to being an apostle. It's in his vision. All right. Matter of fact, right here. All right, Acts 9 and 7. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, and seeing no man. This is Paul on his way to Damascus, looking for the brothers who he just tried to kill. If you get into the Nazarene Acts, he just tried to kill James, the Messiah's brother, broke his legs, tried to kill him, thought he was dead, started a riot in the temple. You dig? And then chased them like to Damascus. Got letters from the high priest and went to Damascus, and this is where this conversion happens. Now, in the account in Acts the 9th chapter, it says, and the men which journeyed with him, Paul, stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. They didn't see anybody, but they heard the voice. That's in Acts 9 and 7. All right. Do we understand that? All right. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. You understand that? They heard a voice, they didn't see a man. Acts 22, 9 to 11. Look at this. Look at this. Acts 22 and 9. And they that were with me saw indeed the light and were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spake to me. Is that contradiction or harmony? Let that be known. Is that contradiction or harmony? And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, Acts 9 and 7. Right? They stood, so they're standing. They didn't even hit the ground in Acts 9. The men that were with Paul didn't even hit the ground in Acts the 9th chapter. They heard a voice, didn't see a man. In Acts 22 and 9, right? It says, and they that were with me saw indeed the light and were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spake to me. All right. Is this contradiction or is this harmony? Give me a 1 for harmony, 2 for contradiction. Acts 9 and 7. They heard a voice, didn't see a man. Acts 22 and 9. They heard not a voice of him that spake to me. They just saw a light. They heard a voice, didn't see nothing in Acts 9 and 7, or didn't see a man. In Acts 22 and 9, they didn't hear anything, but they heard not the voice of him that spoke to me. All they saw was a light. You see? Yeah, that's contradiction, man. All right, it says you heard a voice, but you didn't see a man in Acts 9 and 7. In Acts 22 and 9, it said they didn't hear the voice. Hearing a voice, heard not the voice. That right there is a problem. Now, the reason, Malaki, you being petty, you can say that. But the reason why this is important is because this is this man's whole claim to being an apostle. Without this right here, he's not an apostle. He's not even a self-ordained or proclaimed apostle. He's not even self-appointed without the vision. Without the vision, he's not an apostle even according to him. Ooh-wee. Look at this. Let's go to Acts 26, 12 to 15. And remember, in Acts 9, the men that were with him were standing. They stood speechless. Heard a voice, saw no man. Acts 22 and 9, they heard not a voice. They just saw a light. Acts 26, 12 to 15, whereupon as I went to Damascus with authority and commission from the chief priest at midday, O king, I saw in the way light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me, and them which journeyed with me. And when we were all fallen, look at this. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And I said, who art thou, master? And he said, I am Yeshua, whom thou persecuted. So in Acts 26 and 12, they all fell. Acts 9 and 7, the men were standing. They didn't fall. Acts 9 and 7, they heard a voice, didn't see anything. Acts 22 and 9, they heard not a voice. They just saw light. Acts 26, all of them fell to the ground, to the earth. So we got contradiction. The story don't line up, right? If he was being investigated by a detective, that he got too many holes in the story. All right. The reason this is serious because this right here is this whole claim to being an apostle. I'm gonna go to Galatians actually in the wisdom. I'm actually pull it up. All right, Galatians 1. I'm starting verse 11. Look at it. Look at this again. And then we're gonna show you, like, man, Paul, y'all know the man had Roman citizenship and all that. Right? Here he go again, defending his ministry. Look at this. Paul defends his ministry. But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached to me is not after man. That right there, stop. That right there shows you. That right there shows you he teaches opposite of the apostles. Because what men or man could you have gotten this truth from concerning Yahshua? The apostles, that's it. The leadership coming out of Jerusalem. He has to defend his ministry again. And look what's up here. Acts 9, 1 through 7. Look at that. Victor Jones, you should question everything. Search until you can't search no more, and then keep searching. You understand? Most High has established the truth as a ladder in your life for the perfection and the salvation of one spirit. And the truth you hold on today will be abandoned tomorrow for higher truth. Press on toward perfection. So question everything. Everything. All right, that's Nazarene. Matter of fact, that's the gospel of the Nazarenes right there. So I tell you what the truth is. He said the truth is like a ladder. There'll be some on the bottom rung, there'll be some midway up, and there'll be some on their way to the top. And when they get to the top, they realize they got more climbing to do. That's how it is with the truth. All right, the truth, you'll forever be in pursuit of complete truth. Forever. In this life and in the world to come. Oh, wait. Look at this. But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which preached to me is not after man. So he didn't get it from the apostles. For I neither received it of man. I didn't receive it from the apostles. Neither was I taught it, nor was I taught by the apostles, but by revelation of Yahshua Mashiach. Look at that. The revelation we just read, that got holes in it. The revelation we just read, they got holes in it. Look at that. He's saying, I did not learn from them. I didn't receive it from man, nor was I taught it by man or the apostles. Y'all, there's only one group of men he could get it from. Who else you gonna get it from, buddy? You tell me. You tell me why he got to keep defending his ministry or his apostleship. Could it be because according to the apostles, he's not one? Could that be the reason? You're not an apostle according to the apostles who were ordained by the Creator. You're not even an apostle. And when you finally go get stamped valid or get letters of recommendation on what to preach, you don't even teach all that. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. Look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna jump down. Look at this. But when it pleased God who separated me from my mother's womb, all right, to be separate from your mother's womb ain't talking about when you was born. It's talking about that's a Nazir. That's a Nazarite. Nazarite. All right. A lot of these brothers were dedicated from the womb. Messiah, YHWH'S, or James the Just, YAHKANON the Immerser, John the Baptist. These men were Nazarites from the womb, meaning the razor never touched their head. They never drank wine or strong drink, and they never chewed on the back of an animal or the thigh of an animal or the organs of an animal. None of them. They was them boys. You know what I'm saying? These bros was dedicated way more than what you look at today. I'm talking about down. You see that? So when you say you separated from your mother's womb, that's like a slick shot at the apostles because they were separated. Specifically, James, leader of the movement, was a Nazarite from birth. You understand? That was how the whole household of Yahshua was fed and raised up. From birth, they was Nazarites. Look at this. and called me by his grace to reveal his son in me, that I might preach him among the heathen. Immediately I conferred not with flesh and blood. Look at this. Neither went I up to Jerusalem to them which were apostles before me. He let you know the apostles is in Jerusalem. So there are no other apostles out there. And according to Paul, outside of him, the only other apostles are them in Jerusalem. Now, when he's saying, so such are false apostles, deceitful workers, y'all, look, it sound good because you got a TD Jakes and a Creflo Dollar today. But what I'm saying is the criteria to being an apostle is being a day one. If you ain't that, the whole world knew who the apostles was. You see? So when he's saying false apostles, we ain't got to do no guesswork. We know what he's talking about. You know what I mean? Look at this. Neither went I up to Jerusalem to them which were apostles before me, but I went into Arabia. What that said in protocol? What you mean you went to Arabia? You went to Mecca, Yemen. Look at this. And returned again unto Damascus. Didn't go check in. Look at this. Verse 18. Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter and abode with him 15 days, a fortnight. But other of the apostles saw I none save who? Yaakov, James, the Lord's brother, the master's brother. Look at this, verse 20. Now the things which I write unto you, behold, before God, I lie not. I ain't lying. You know what that means when somebody got to always convince you that they not lying. This man defending his ministry. What do you got to do that for? Why was his ministry under attack? Who was attacking his ministry? Look at this. Just jump back up. Galatians 1. He's writing to the assembly in Galatia. All right, look at this. I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Messiah unto another gospel. What other gospel? What other apostles? What other gospel? What are you talking about? Who else is out here teaching Yahshua's message? Who? Look at this. What you mean another gospel? Slow down. He's telling you. He's not teaching what the apostles are teaching. He didn't receive it from them. He didn't learn it from them. He got it by revelation. When we just went and read the revelation got holes in it. That's your whole claim to being an apostle. A revelation. Look at this. Which is not another, but there be some that trouble you and will pervert the gospel of Messiah. Look at this. But though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you, that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. Look at that. Y'all, he ain't including the apostles in Jerusalem. He just told you down in verse 11, what I preach, I didn't get from them. It is not after man. I didn't receive it from man. Neither was I taught it by man. When I finally went to Jerusalem, I chilled with Peter and I saw James. The other apostles, the Messiah's brother, the other apostles I didn't see. And I ain't lying to you. So who is he cursing? Who is out there with enough authority to cast doubt in the mind of the assembly of Galatia about Paul? This ain't just some random cat on YouTube. Like, this had to be major for Paul to have to defend what it was he was doing. Whoever was attacking him must have been major. Had to be a major player. Or it's fizzled out. Notice he's cursing them, though. What does it mean to curse? Let him be a curse. Look at this. Look at this. Bind under a great curse. A man a curse devoted to the direst of woes. Cursing these cats. Bind under a curse, anathema. Anathema, curse, ban, a religious ban or concretely excommunicated thing or person. Straight cursing. Messiah didn't even curse. Like, what are you talking about? He ever cursing anybody that teaches opposite of what he teaches. We do that as Israelites today and wonder why we ain't went nowhere. You're too busy cursing each other because of your differences. Look at this. As we said before, so say I now again. If any man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be what? Accursed. Huh? Doomed to destruction. The direst of woes. He's cursing the apostles. He's cursing anybody who teaches another gospel than him. All right. But that may be far reaching for you. We'll go to the next chapter. And we're going to deal with Paul's Roman citizenship. How did this man get Roman citizenship? What's going on here? We're going to deal with it. Now, here he go. He recounts what went down at Jerusalem. Or when he went up to Acts in Acts 15. And when you read Acts 15, that's a Arcs or whatever they say there, but that's Acts. When you go read that, James in there telling him to abstain from meats offered to idols and to teach that. That's what you teach. All right. Paul turned around and said, whatever soul in the shambles eating, and don't ask no questions for conscience sake. So even if your conscience is convicting you about it, you know what I mean? Even if your conscience is convicting you about it, don't ask no questions. The earth belongs to the Lord, boy. Don't say nothing. Huh? Look at this. Then 14 years after, I went up again to Jerusalem with Barnabas, okay, and took Titus with me also. Now, you realize him and Barnabas fell out right after that. We'll go read that too. He's falling out with everybody, y'all. The man is problematic. And this is after the so-called conversion. Who is this cat? Who is this cat? Look at this. It says right here, to Jerusalem with Barnabas and took Titus with me also, and went up by revelation and communicated unto them that gospel which I preach among the Gentiles, but privately to them which were of reputation, lest by any means I should run or had run in vain. But neither Titus, who was with me, being a Greek, was compelled to be circumcised. Look at this. And that because of false brethren, unawares brought in, who came in privately to spy out our liberty, which we have in Christ Jesus, that they might bring us into bondage. The man is calling circumcision bondage. Bondage. Now you see that when the decision got made in Acts 15, James was saying, don't trouble them, right? But put this on them right here. This is the discipline you got to put on them. Abstain from meats offered to idols, from things strangled, from blood, and from fornication. Which if you keep yourselves, you should do well. That's the doctrine that Paul was supposed to teach, period. Nothing else, nothing more, no less. You dig? Now, when you get into further writings, eventually they would have to be circumcised, but that's like 6-7 years in. You had to go through an initiation process dealing with the apostles. You had to like straight be one of their understudies for like 6 or 7 years. That's how I can tell you ain't none of these Negroes apostles, period. You ain't even one of them students that sat at their kneecaps for 6 or 7 years before you got out there and started doing your thing. Shit, in this day and time, who do you have? Look at this right here. That they might bring us into bondage. Verse 5. To whom we gave place by subjection. No, not for an hour. That the truth of the gospel might continue with you. He's saying when he went to Jerusalem, he wasn't in subjection to the brethren he called them false, who disagreed with his doctrine of circumcision. He said he wasn't in subjection. To whom we gave place by subjection. No, not for an hour. That the truth of the gospel might continue with you. Look at this. Look at Galatians 2:5. Let's look at it in a different version. Look at this. He's going to tell you who he's talking about. This is the reason why his letters are very, very valuable. Nah, I just said they keep Paul's, keep it all in there. Keep it all in there. Right? You got to understand. You got to understand what's the character of the creator and what's not. Once you know the history, you rolling. I ain't taking nothing out the Bible. The Bible is what it is. You understand? The Bible is what it is. It says what it says. It's just so many times we catch ourselves in the middle of trying to explain it because what it says, it really don't mean it. Oh, I ain't with taking nothing out of it. Leave it in there. You understand? And scroll through it. You put on a historical lens, you'll see it. You'll say, good night, boy, this is crazy. You understand? And when it come down to it, you already know what right and wrong is, Jack. Everybody do. You don't need no Malaki Maccabee to tell you not to kill nobody, not to steal. You understand? You don't need me to tell you how to treat your wife and your children and all, man. You already know what you're supposed to be doing. That's the point. You understand? The problem is we looking for all this stuff in books. You are the book. You are the writing of the creator. You see, people don't want to talk like that. No, I need a book strapped to my back. You actually don't. You are his right. He speaks through your soul. So you already know when you look on your way to doing wrong, you know you're going to do wrong. Whose voice is that? Who telling you don't do that? Or who's inspired you to move in righteousness? Come on, man, you are the book. I thought the new covenant was the law of the Most High is on your heart and in your mind. So wherever the writing of the creator is, there his words are. You are the book. You're supposed to become the book. You're supposed to become Messiah. Be like him, right? We so stuck in a book. We so stuck, you understand, looking outside of ourselves for what the truth is. You're born with it. You're born with the truth. You got the creator. The creator been speaking to every last one of y'all since before you can remember. And to this day, creator speaks through your soul. So you already know you don't need nothing to validate nothing. Period. You know what's right and you know what's wrong. All right? I would say as your brother, do what's right. Don't take nothing out of nothing. Leave it there. Leave it there so the future generations can come and examine what it is we've been dealing with. I don't remove nothing. I ain't trying to edit nothing, redact nothing, none of that. Because in the end, we all victims of these translators anyway. Even with the Dead Sea Scrolls, I got Giza Vermes translation of the Dead Sea Scrolls. I mean, why did these take 48 years to come out to the public? Ask yourself that. Yeah. The powers that be always editing and trying to control the information and all that. So, and the only way they can do that is because we as a people are constantly looking inside of something that came off a printing press or came off a scroll or came off a typewriter. No, you are the writing of the creator. It's you. You're supposed to read these stories and be like, oh, okay, I can relate to that. Yeah. Let me strive to be that. Let me strive to be God today. You are the book. Ain't none of us figured that out yet. We all arguing over translations and all that. I just be sitting back and laughing at the mealy mouth Negroes. Everybody be laughing like you don't even get it yet. You arguing over translations and this and that, and you are the book. You are the handwriting of the creator. You are the word made flesh. You supposed to become Messiah. Yeah. Didn't he tell you the works that I do, you gonna do greater? And so you supposed to become greater than him. Good night. What are we really talking about then? You are the book, man. It's you. It's us. Right? And stop looking for truth outside of yourself. It's inside of you. You know when you being led by the Spirit of the Most High to do what's right, and you know when you in full entertainment mode of Satan, boy. Yeah, carnal mind. You dig? You done stop by the stove, got your party favorites, got your extra done comes, huh? Yeah, got you a few, got you a few personal favorites to roll something up in. When it got your favorite drink, got you a sweet for the night. Yeah. You finna go do what you do, right? You already be knowing on your way to do wrong that, man, I'm going to do wrong. I'm going off. And I'm about to go do it. So you don't need no book for that. Like a child knows is doing wrong and ain't never read nothing. You know what I mean? Now look at this right here. NLT, but refuse to give in to them for a single moment. We wanted to preserve the truth of the gospel message for you. ESV, to them we did not yield in submission, even for a moment, so that the truth of the gospel might be preserved. Yeah, bro, just like in anything in life, you want to be aware of what you're getting yourself into. So I wouldn't say edit or delete nothing. Keep it. Galatians 2:6. Look at this. But of these who seem to be somewhat, look at this. But of these who seem to be somewhat, whatsoever they were, it maketh no matter to me. God accepts no man's person. For they who seem to be somewhat in conference added nothing to me. He act like the whole thing in Jerusalem was only about circumcision. And he refused to be in bondage or subjection to any of them, right? Watch this. I don't think y'all really understand what he's saying. NLT. And the leaders of the church, stop it. Who are the leaders of the church, y'all? Huh? And the leaders of the church. That's James, Peter, John, the leaders. Huh? And the leaders of the church had nothing to add to what I was preaching. By the way, their reputation as great leaders made no difference to me. For God has no favorites. Y'all, the leaders of the church are the apostles. There it is right there. The leaders of the church are the apostles. That's why he said in the KJV right here, but of these who seem to be somewhat, who seem to be somewhat, and the leaders of the church had nothing to add to what I was preaching. That's a lie. So not a man lying. Acts 15:29 says, abstain from meats offered to idols, from fornication, from blood and things strangled. That conference in Jerusalem was not just about circumcision. So now he's lying. Look at this. Not a man lying, trying to defend his ministry. Look at this. But contrariwise, when they saw that the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto me, as the gospel of the circumcision was unto Peter, that's another lie. It's another lie, family. How do we know? Messiah resurrected and told the apostles to go out into all, and they was already out amongst the nations. They already was doing it. Peter was already out doing his thing, Cornelius and all that. So there was never a secret agreement that Paul would only go to the Gentiles or the uncircumcised, and Peter would only go to the circumcised. That was never the agreement. And that's not what Yahshua told them. Look at this, verse 8. For he that wrought effectually in Peter to the apostleship of the circumcision, the same was mighty in me toward the Gentiles. Look at this. And when James, Cephas, and John, who seemed to be pillars. So now we know who he's talking about. We ain't got to guess who you think he's talking about. Apostles. Those are apostles according to him. So if they are the only apostles out there, then guess what? They are the only ones who could be deemed false apostles. Anybody else that came against Paul didn't hold the title of apostle. It was only them. And when James, Cephas, and John, who seemed to be pillars, look at them. I'm talking about who seemed to be, perceived the grace that was given unto me, that gave to me and Barnabas the right hands of fellowship, that we should go into the heathen and they into the circumcision. That's not true. That's nowhere in Acts 15. It's nowhere in Acts 15. Galatians 2 and 10. And trip off this. This is Acts 15, 1 through 21. He's going back over, correct? Look at this. Galatians 2 and 10. Only they would that we should remember the poor, the same which I also was forward to do. Look at this. But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed. Now, this is Paul, and I know a lot of brothers that believe Paul punked Peter. He punked him. Right? We never read the other side of this. We never read the flip side because we never understood if there was another side to it. We just know by the time we get to 2 Peter 3, 15 through 17, Peter seems to be vouching for Paul. Not realizing every historian going back 1,800 years, I got the proof. I can pull it up later on. No historian agreed that Peter wrote 2 Peter. 2 Peter was written middle of the 2nd century. Peter had already been dead. A lot of this was going on back in the ancient world. You know what I mean? They was writing in an anonymous or pseudo-anonymous, where you get your pseudepigraphers and all that from. You know what I mean? Testament of Abraham. Abraham didn't write that. All the pseudepigraphers in the Book of Jubilees and Jasher's, the versions found in the Qumran community or the Dead Sea Scroll, y'all, that's 2nd century. None of that goes back to, that's 2nd century BC. None of that goes back to the times of Abraham historically, none of that. See what I'm saying? So a lot of that was being written. A lot of our history that you have, a lot of our literature is pseudo-anonymous. In other words, it had the name of a great man on it, but it was written way after the man died. You know what I mean? I'll pull up some of that later to show you. But he claimed he punks Peter. For before that certain men came from who? James. James is the leader of the Nazarene movement and is headquartered out of Jerusalem. James is Yeshua's biological brother. He is the one who was left in charge of the entire movement. He is the one that told Paul to teach to abstain from meats offered to idols, blood, things strangled, and fornication. The question is, did Paul teach that? Did Paul teach what he was supposed to teach? Look at this. So Paul is accusing Peter of eating meats offered to idols. Look at this. For before that certain came from James, and this also shows you that James has the authority to send men to check your temperature. Look at this. He did eat with the Gentiles, but when they will come, he withdrew, separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision. Well, the dietary restriction that James gave was to abstain from meats offered to idols. So is Paul, trip off this. So is Paul accusing Peter of eating meats offered to idols? Eating things that have been strangled? Is he accusing Peter of drinking blood? Because those were the dietary restrictions that James gave. Paul is accusing Peter of being a violator of James, what James gave to him. He went to Jerusalem. Look at this. And the other Jews dissembled likewise with him, insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulation. So we ain't got to trip off this. We don't have to guess at who Paul is talking about anymore. When he said, if they bring another gospel, ain't I'm an apostle? Did he say they are false apostles? He said, curse them. He did. Any man bring you any other gospel than what we preach, count him cursed. Well, obviously, Peter, James, John, and Barnabas, who he says seems to be pillars. Huh? Those are the apostles. Right? And obviously they had a problem with what he was talking about. And he just accused Peter of violating the Jerusalem council mandates that went out. Look at this. And the other, and he's steady throwing these men under the bus. Barnabas, Peter, James, John. It just so happened all of them are apostles. All of them are apostles, except for Barnabas. All of them are apostles. Look at this. Look what he said. But when I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said unto Peter before them all. Pay attention. Look at this. I said unto Peter before them all, if you being Yahudi live after the manner of Goyim, if you being a Jew live like a heathen, if you being a Yahudi live like a Gentile, he's straight saying that Peter lives lawless. He don't follow the dietary law or the overseas directives. He live like a Gentile. He don't live like no Jew. If you being a Jew live after the manner of Gentiles and not as do the Jews, why compare you to Gentiles that live as do the Jews? We who are Jews by nature and not sinners of the Gentiles. Look at that. He said, yeah, you a Jew or you Yahudi, but you live like a heathen. That's what he said. Try to make it say something else. Try to make it seem as if it don't say that. When I saw that they were not following the truth of the gospel message, I said to Peter in front of all others, since you, a Jew by birth, have discarded, look at this, have discarded the Jewish laws and are living like a Gentile, why are you now trying to make these Gentiles follow Jewish traditions? Y'all hear this? According to Paul, Peter lives like a heathen. This is a direct attack on the apostles. Even when you read Matthew 16, right? Based off Peter, and on this church I will establish my rock. See? Now look at this. Let me show y'all something. So we ain't got to guess who we talking about. Obviously, the apostles teach a different gospel than him. And according to him, if they bring any other gospel, they are cursed. They are damned. All right. He's out here defending his apostleship. He's saying, I am an apostle. We went and showed what it takes to be an apostle. We even showed what he claimed his revelation, because his revelation is what? His whole claim to being an apostle, and that got holes in it. Then we get down to Galatians, the 2nd chapter. All right. And he admits that James and Peter and all them, the apostles, are in Jerusalem, and that James is the Messiah's brother. And then he just said, I wasn't in subjection to the leadership in Jerusalem or the leaders of the church for not 1 second. They didn't add nothing else to me. Meaning we ain't talk about nothing else when we went to Jerusalem. Oh, that's a lie. Then the grand finale is he just told your boy Peter, who had the fiery tongues on him, y'all. Right? One of the chosen to carry the message on. He just told Peter, you live like a heathen. You don't even follow Hebrew law. That's what he said. You see? So now Paul was doing something different. A lot of brothers don't want to deal with it. I understand why. You feel me? But over here, we're going to bring this on out. Now, look how, let me show you something. Let's go to the Acts of Peter. All right, we're going to go to what's called the Nazarene Acts or Clementine Homilies, right? We're going to go to Homilies 17, chapter 19. All right. Now, a lot of this Nazarene is saying, a lot of this stuff is first century documentation, man. All right, let's go to some of this. Let me show y'all this. Got it pull up. Because we never got the flip side of it. According to Paul, he punked Peter. Punked him. And according to Paul, he is an apostle because of the vision and revelation he got. Correct? All right, well, if you got the Clementine Homilies or the Nazarene Acts, homily again, homily 17, chapter 19. Let me pull this up. Let me hide this right here on the side. So y'all, easy work. We do this. Somebody better tell these young boys that I does this. Huh? Somebody better tell these young boys that I does this. Oh, man. All right. So look, let me go ahead. I don't know why this ain't moving out y'all way. But let's go ahead and get into it. If it ain't going to move, I'm still going to blow it up. All right. Now, these boys, we do this. All right. So look at this Peter right here. All right. And he's responding. Remember the video I showed in the beginning, PhD Dr. Robert Price said there is a consensus among scholars. And he said, I have to take this serious now that Paul is Simon Magus. Who is Simon Magus? Well, if you get the Nazarene Acts, you see that's who Peter was banging against the whole time. Banging against. Now, trip out this. Simon Magus had a claim that he had a revelation of who they call Messiah. You dig? And what he teach, he got directly from him. And not Peter and them. He had the same claim. Now, look at how Peter responds in opposition to this. Opposition to Peter, unreasonable. Look at this. If then our Yeshua appeared to you in a vision, because that's what Paul said, right? Made himself known to you and spoke to you, it was as one who is enraged with an adversary. Good night, boy. What is you talking about here? Look at this. If then our Yeshua appeared to you in a vision, made himself known to you and spoke to you, it was as one who is enraged with an adversary. And this is the reason why it was through visions and dreams or through revelations. Didn't he say, what I preach and what I teach, I didn't get it from man, nor was I taught it by man or any of the apostles, but by revelation. Look how cold Peter is. Look how he responded to this so-called revelation that Simon Magus is claiming that he had, right? And it's the same type of revelation that Paul is claiming in the Acts. Look at this. But can anyone be rendered fit for instruction? I'm reading. Hold on. If then our Yeshua appeared to you in a vision, made himself known to you and spoke to you, it was as one who was enraged with an adversary. And this is the reason why it was through visions and dreams or through revelations that were from without that he spoke to you. But can anyone be rendered fit for instruction through apparitions? And if you will say it is possible, then I ask, why did our teacher abide in discourse a whole year to those who were awake? And how are we to believe your word when you tell us that he appeared to you? And how did he appear to you? When you entertain opinions contrary to his teaching. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. And how did he appear to you? And when you entertain, and how did he appear to you when you entertain opinions contrary to his teaching? But if you were seen and taught by him and became his apostle for a single hour, proclaim his utterances, interpret his sayings, love his apostles. Huh? Love his apostles. Contend not with me who company with him. For in direct opposition to me, who am a firm rock, the foundation of the assembly, you now stand. So him talking bad about Peter and everybody seal clapping. Ooh, 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 Paul punk Peter. You don't even know you stand in opposition to the one who ordained Peter. What is you talking about? What is you talking about? Look at this. For in direct opposition to me, who am a firm rock, the foundation of the church, you now stand. If you were not opposed to me, you would not accuse me. Then he just accused Peter of being what? Lawless. Said you look like a Gentile. Huh? You eating the meats off of the idols. You eating things strangled, blood. You doing all that. James send men up here. You get up from the table and you act as if you holier than thou. Barnabas too. Look what Peter is saying though. If you were not opposed to me, you would not accuse me and revile the truth proclaimed by me, in order that I may not be believed when I state what I myself have heard with my own ears from the master, as if I were evidently a person that was condemned and in bad reputation. Then he curse them. Let them be cursed. Peter's responding to Simon Magus, who a lot of scholars say is Paul, Saul of Tarsus. Both are claiming they had a revelation in Yahshua, and both of them are openly claiming that they are against the apostles. They say they one and the same. Look at this right here. But if you say that I am condemned, you bring an accusation against God who revealed the Messiah to me, and you inveigh against him who pronounced me blessed on account of the revelation. But if indeed you really wish to work in the cause of truth, learn first of all from us. Paul never, that's how you know this is Paul you're talking to. Paul never came and learned from them. But if indeed you really wish to work in the cause of truth, learn first of all from us what we have learned from him and becoming a disciple. See, he can't be an apostle. Only can be a student. And becoming a disciple of truth, become a fellow worker with us. See? Look at that. Clementine Homilies. Homily 17, chapter 9. Peter responds to Paul. Responded right to him. Paul over there clowning, man. Clowning. There's a reason why he was acting the way he was acting. You get in the later Galatians, he telling them if they keep talking about circumcision, they need to be castrated. Like, dang. And then turn around and tell you that what the fruits of the spirit is. Man, look, dude was on one. Dude was really, really on one. Now, look, I want to go show y'all something while I'm here. All right. Let me go show y'all something. I want to show y'all something real quick. Bear with me. I want to show y'all. Paul had Roman citizenship. All right. Paul had Roman citizenship. Let's go show that. All right. Bang, bang, bang. I think that's Acts 22. I believe that's Acts 20. No, that may be Acts 21. Let me go back a chapter. Bang, bang, bang. Let me go back a chapter. I think it's Acts 21 where he got beat. He was like, you done beat us being Romans, Jack. He's like, oh, no. He got seized in the temple. They wasn't playing with Paul. Acts 22. Right here, right here. Bang, bang, bang. I think this is it right here. Man. He had like 200 Secret Service come grab him up. Like, man, dude was straight connected. Like, what is you talking about, man? Dude was straight connected. All right. No, that ain't the one. Paul said he was a Roman. Let me see. Roman. That's in I think that's That's not Rome in the book, idiots. I think it's Acts 27 or something like that. But yeah, Paul was straight Roman, had Roman citizenship and everything, man. It's crazy. I was like, man, dude was like very, very connected. All right, maybe in the next chapter then. We'll go down to Acts 22. Y'all bear with me for a second. Explaining like, man, it's like, we got American citizenship here, man. You know what I mean? So I know toward the end of it, he was surprised that Paul could speak Greek. All right. These cats are about ready to kill dude. Right here. I knew it. Next chapter. Acts 22 and 25. And they bound him with thongs. Dang, not no thongs, man. And they bound him with thongs. Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman? Paul admitting that his connection to them, he got Roman citizenship. Huh? This is crazy. Guys. This cat is straight connected. Where did it go? Right here. Is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman and uncondemned? When the centurion heard that, he went and told the chief captain, saying, take heed what thou doest, for this man is a Roman. He's a Roman. Wow. So what it says right here, a resident of the city of Rome or a Roman citizen. All right, so Paul claims Israelite heritage, right? Benjamite, but he has Roman citizenship. And we never questioned that. Like, hold on, how do an Israelite got Roman citizenship? How is that possible? All right, how is that possible? Now look at this right here. Look at this right here. He already told you that what? That he's blood related to the Herods. Back to the video we watched in the beginning, right? It's Paul again. What does he say? Salute Herodian, my kinsmen. Greet them to be of the household of Narcissus. Found that funny. Which are in the master. Now look at this, Herodian. This is Paul, right? Herodian or his kinsmen. All right. The Herods. Just in case y'all think it's a game. All right. Now we got to go. Look at this. Good night. Now look at this. Look at this. You mean tell me this man is straight related? Look at this. The name of a royal family that flourished among the Jews in the times of Christ and the apostles. Herod the Great was the son of Antipater of Idumea. Y'all remember that? We're gonna pull out a family lineage, a family tree later on. All right. Paul just said, or Paul is Saul, for y'all that don't know. Okay. He just said that he's related, that the Herods or his kinsmen. He was talking to a certain one out the family named Herodian. All right. Salute Herodian, my kinsman. The name of a royal family that flourished among the Jews in times of Messiah and the apostles. Herod the Great was the son of Antipater of Idumea, appointed king of Judea BC 40. Bag drop. Look at this. By the Roman Senate. Look at that. Huh? You mean to tell me the Herodians are directly connected to Rome and its senators? What the Roman Senate doing appointing Herod king of Judea? Straight foreigner. But his appointment didn't come from a prophet of the Most High. None of that. It came from the city of Rome. Capitol Hill, the Senate. Or Capitol Lion Hill was called. All right, by the Roman Senate at the suggestion of Antony and with the consent of Octavian. He at length overcame the great opposition which the country made to him and took possession of the kingdom BC 37. And after the battle of Actium, he was confirmed by Octavian, whose favor he ever enjoyed. He was brave and skilled in war, learned and sagacious, but also extremely suspicious and cruel. Hence, he destroyed the entire royal family of Hasmoneans, the Maccabees. Salute the brethren. He destroyed the entire royal family of Hasmoneans. So who are these high priests during the time of Messiah? If the Hasmonean blood was destroyed, the rightful ones that were up to be the priests, if that was destroyed by the Herods, well, who are these priests during the time of Mashiach? Herodians. Yeah, Herodians. Look at this. It says right here, it says, killed from the Jews that opposed God. It says, hence he destroyed the entire royal family of Hasmoneans, put to death many of the Jews that opposed his government, and proceeded to kill even his dearly beloved wife, Miriam, of the Hasmonean line, and his 2 sons she had borne him. This nigga was crazy. But he was so paranoid, he killed his own wife and the sons he had, because the sons he had Hasmonean blood in them through their mama. Look at this right here. This is crazy. By these acts of bloodshed, especially by his love and imitation of Roman customs. Look at this. And institutions, and by the burdensome taxes imposed upon his subjects, he so alienated the Jews that he was unable to regain their favor by a splendid restoration of the temple and other acts of munificence. He died in the 70th year of his age, the 37th year of his reign, the 4th before the Dionysian era. In his closing years, John the Baptist and Messiah were born. Matthew narrates that he commanded all the male children under 2 years old in Bethlehem to be slain. This is who Paul is related to, the Herods. Which means Paul is an Edomite. See, the Herods claim to be Israelites as well. They never claimed their Idumean ancestry. All right? Paul tell you in Romans that he's what? Blood related to whom? Salute Herodian, my kinsman. We saw that's just him saying, they from the same city. Okay, I hear you. Well, let me pull this up for you. Somebody better tell these young boys that we do this. Let me pull this up for you so you can see we ain't playing no games, son. Okay, that's that. I might have to go back to the. Let me go back to the Wishman. Let me show you what we talking about here. Parallel New Testament. I got it right down here, boy. Surgical with it. I got it. Hold on. Got it right. I'm gonna show y'all. We're gonna pull up 3 New Testament passages from 3 different translations about that Romans 16 and 11. All right. Gotta have it right there. Go to my downloads. I got you. It's easy work. Ain't nothing to it. Parallel New Testament. Should pop right up. Parallel. Show y'all what we talking about. Bang. No licking of the finger. No guesswork. I thought I had it already pulled up, though, y'all. Please forgive your brother. All right, now look at this. I'm going to show y'all that Romans 16:11. Since kinsmen ain't good enough. All right. Let that go ahead and search. Since kinsmen ain't good enough for most, even though we can go right here and show you what a kinsman is. Let's go there. Easy work. The man said that salute a Herodian, my kinsman. It says of the same kin, akin to, related by blood. What is we talking about? This man blood related to the Herods. The same Herods that chopped off John the Baptist's head. The same Herodians who were the tax collectors for the Romans. The same Herods who killed, who soaked the streets of Jerusalem in the land of Israel with our blood. Because we wasn't with that Roman rulership. Look at this. In a wider sense of the same nation, a fellow countryman. Of the same, akin to, related by blood. This man blood related, man. Relative by blood, by extension, a fellow countryman. All right. Now, if that don't convince you, If that don't convince you, then this should. Right here. This should convince you right here. Look at it. Look at his heads. Let me show you. Yeah. He claimed to be an Israelite, but so did Herod and his family. Yeah, he claimed to be an Israelite. Throw it out there. He did. But he definitely got Edomite or Idumean. He did bloodline. I'm about to prove it real quick so y'all can see. This is the parallel New Testament right here. All right, I don't know how much it costs these days, but it's 3 different translations parallel to each other. J.W. Etheridge, English translation of the Peshitta. James Murdoch, New Testament translation from the Syriac Peshitta version. George M. Lamsa, New Testament translation according to the Eastern text. All right, we're about to go to Romans 16:11. Let's see. Let's see what we're working with his. I hate when this thing frees up like that. Go to side. Get y'all. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna show y'all. Easy work. Easy work. Easy work. Right here. Everybody think we playing games. All right. We're gonna blow this up for you. All right. Romans 16:11. That's all 3 of them side by side. As for the piece of who? Herodian, my who? Relative. 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 That man blood related to the Herod, y'all. He's an Herodian. This is why this man just told you that he's a Roman. He has Roman citizenship. Paul was a Roman. How is that possible? All right. How is that possible? Man, it's a straight Roman. Okay. Well, let's get into it. Now we got the man family tree over there. Okay. Bing. What's that right there? Nah, that's the Gospel of Thomas, not that one. What's this? Let me show y'all something. Bing, bang, bang. That's the Julian. That was bang. Oh, that ain't what I'm looking for. It ain't that one. Ain't that one. 1 second. I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. I got Josephus up here and everything. Somebody is going to be pissed at you, bruh. What's this for? Oh, I got his family tree right here. I'm gonna pull this up though. Okay, right here is the family tree. Going back. Well, I'm telling you, I think these short legs be messing with my computer. It's all type of stuff I be having pulled up. I get back to it, it be gone. All right, so we about to let me pull up my my email so I can show y'all. All right, no, that ain't it. There you go. Little jokes. I'm glad I be sending this stuff to myself. I think these little jokes be messing with my stuff. Let me show y'all this. You're like, man, what? All right, well, if it ain't there, it's gonna be right here in my whatchamacallit. And then y'all gonna see, dang, hold on. What do it take? See, all that takes something. All right. Right here. How the Herodian dynasty got Roman citizenship. Good night. Good night. The man just told you he got Roman citizenship. And he just said that he's blood related to the Herods. My kinsman, my relative, by implication related by who? Blood. Blood. All right. So let me pull this up so y'all can see. We're gonna read a little bit of this. Now, what I did. This is the intervention of Sextus Julius Caesar, governor of Syria, in the affair of Herod's trial. Ooh-wee. So the Herods, the Herodians, Antipater, father, and all that are very closely aligned with Julius Caesar and all that. All right. We even read that in the Bible, the Blue Letter Bible, when we went to Herod. We're talking about his favor with one of the Caesars. All right. Yeah, it had all kind of windows open. All right. Yeah. We go around these places, you dig? So look at this right here. Intervention of Sextus Julius Caesar in the affair of Herod's trial. During Herod's governorship of Galilee, he captured Ezekiel, or a brother named Ezekiel, a brigadier chief, and had him together with several of his men put to death without trial. For this deed, he was to be tried by the Sanhedrin in Jerusalem. So, he got beside himself, man. Herod the Great got beside himself and killed some of the brothers. You dig? But remember, the brothers was against Roman rulership. So they was, it was a lot of revolutionary guerrilla warfare, like movements going on in what you call Israel 2,000 years ago, first century. Gang of them. Look at this. Josephus relates the story of this trial in his writing, and again with some applications in the antiquity of the Jews. This paper deals with only one aspect of the affair: the intervention of Sextus Julius Caesar, governor of Syria, on behalf of Herod, with Hyrcanus. John Hyrcanus was an Hasmonean and a real Israelite. You find all this stuff right here, what I'm talking about, you'll find in the Apocrypha. John Hyrcanus and all that, nephew of Judah Maccabee. All right. Governor of Syria on behalf of Herod with Hyrcanus II, the ethnarch and what? High priest of the Jews. Look at it. 2 passages, one in each book, deal directly with this affair. For the purposes of the discussion, I quote these passages in the original. All right. In Josephus, now it's going to give you the Greek, how he wrote it in Greek. Okay. It says, what did the governor require Hyrcanus to do? In their translation of the wars, Thackeray, Michael, and Barenfein and Pelletier render the word as charge. All right. This would mean that Sextus was demanding that Herod be, or Julius Caesar was demanding that Herod be cleared of the charge of homicide. So even though Herod had the brothers Ezekiel and his people killed, you dig, for resenting Roman authority, right? Julius Caesar. And so Herod was about to be tried before the Supreme Court, the Sanhedrin in Israel. Julius Caesar intervenes and told Hyrcanus, the ruler of, or the ethnarch, the high priest in charge, they clear him of that. That show you who was really ruling. These Romans. And look how close the Edomites or the Idumeans, the Herods, the Herodians are with the Roman Empire. This man could murder a gang of Israelites right in front of you. You dig? And when he get brought before the Supreme Court, all charges drop. Dang. This the family that Paul descends from. We about to show you how Paul was able years later to obtain Roman citizenship. Look at this. In short, that he be acquitted. This is the view also of Marcus and Shalit in their English and Hebrew versions of the Antiquities. It is, in fact, the communist opinio among modern scholars, or the common opinion among modern scholars, as stated by Schuer, Juster, Laquire, and Willrich in Shalit's 2 works on Herod in the New Revised English edition of Schuer's book by Smallwood and by several others. This meaning is not, I believe, born or carried out by the context of the 2 passages. In 169 of the Antiquities, Josephus describes how Herod prepared for his journey to Jerusalem. The description closes with the words, that's Greek, and immediately following comes Sextus or Julius Caesar's demand that Herod be released. Wow, look at this. Remember that. Look at this. It is hardly likely that the word here has a meaning different from that in the preceding sentence. If the author intended to refer first to a trial and then to a charge in the same context, he would have used 2 different words. By using the same word in contiguous sentences, he must have intended them to convey the same meaning. Moreover, it seems clear that the two sentences were intended to express a contrast. X goes to his trial. Y demands that X be released from trial. Furthermore, the intervention of Julius Caesar, Sextus Caesar, must have preceded Herod's departure for an arrival in Jerusalem. Yet, both in the antiquities and the wars, Josephus delays the intervention incident until after Herod's departure. This is done intentionally for dramatic effect. If Herod were found guilty, he would be sentenced to death. Josephus therefore makes the dispatch of the governor's envoys to Hyrcanus coincide with Herod's departure to the Sanhedrin in order to produce the dramatic effect of a release at the 11th hour. The meaning of the word in this passage is not charge, but trial. And Julius Caesar, aka Sextus, demanded that Herod be released from trial. It should follow that the meaning of the word is the same in the wars. Talking about Josephus, War of the Jews. Look at this. Look at this. But there it is accompanied by the attribute, and the collocation suggests a different interpretation. The expression, a clearly defined concept in Athenian legal terminology, it means a murder charge, showing that Herod had a murder charge on him. And Julius Caesar got him acquitted, got John Hyrcanus II to drop the charge in front of the Sanhedrin. Boy, these boys, so that shows you the Roman and Herodian connection, you dig, and their rulership over the Israelites. It shows you right there. Look at this. This man can murder right in front and be acquitted. Look at this. Look at this. This meaning may be read into the Roman governor's instructions to Hyrcanus. However, the context excludes this interpretation. Josephus says that Sextus or Julius Caesar intervened on behalf of Herod because he realized that if Herod fell into the hands of his enemies, his life would be at stake. According to the wars, Herod's enemies were the same wicked men who had spoken against him in the court of Hyrcanus, or according to the antiquities, the leaders of the Jews. In other words, his opponents were men of influence in government circles in Jerusalem who were envious of the growing power of the house of who? Antipater. That's Herod the Great Father. Remember that? Remember that name right there. But when we pull this family tree up, you dig, and connect Saul or Paul back to Herod and back to Herod's father, Antipater. You dig? There ain't nowhere else to go from there. But say, dang, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. That sounds like the Secret Service, young prince. But the same thing happened with Paul. When he was about to get killed at the temple, like 200 Secret Service came out of nowhere and got him. Dang, this man connected. That would have never happened. If he was just a regular apostle, you dig? Nah, Rome would have never intervened on the Temple Mount like that. And came and got him and put him under house arrest while he await trial. Save him from getting murdered. Stop that. All right. Who were envious of the growing power of the house of Antipater, and the most vehement opponents of the young governor of Galilee were the members of the council of the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin is the supreme court in Israel. Look at this. They had a sole right to judge capital cases, and by executing Ezekiel and his men, Herod had infringed that right. They therefore urged Hyrcanus to bring him to trial and punish him according to the law. Right, so Hyrcanus stuck between a rock and a hard place. Rome got the authority. They got the power, you dig? But for him to be high priest and recognized by his people and not to have mutiny on his hands, he got to please them too. Hyrcanus hesitated, but finally yielded to them. Now, these very men were sitting judgment over Herod. The Syrian governor, or Julius Caesar, knew this, having most probably heard it from Herod himself. He feared that if Herod were tried under such conditions, he would most certainly be sentenced to death, and therefore explicitly instructed Hyrcanus not to have him brought to trial. Remember, same thing was about to happen to Paul. Paul was about to get put to death in Acts 21. And then the Secret Service rushed in there, and then Paul got to go before Agrippa. And now when you look at this, Agrippa wasn't nothing but Paul's relatives. They were Edomites or Idumeans, Herodians, who were ruling as kings over Judea and various spots in that area. Paul goes before his family, Agrippa and them. Look at this. Look at this right here. Josephus added, right, he feared if Herod were tried under such conditions, he would most certainly be sentenced to death, and therefore explicitly instructed Hyrcanus not to have him brought to trial. Josephus added to the attribute to the noun in order to bring home to the reader the nature and severity of the charge, which he had failed to do in other parts of the narrative in the wars. In the Antiquities, on the other hand, he did make this point. Shammai, in rebuking the members of the Sanhedrin, says that Herod had been summoned to trial on a murder charge. We may therefore reasonably assume that Josephus is not saying that Julius Caesar instructed Hyrcanus to acquit Herod of the charge, and he apparently found nothing to that effect in the source from which he derived his information. Let's keep reading. Look at this. About July, I don't know what they say, 47, I don't know. Julius Caesar came from Egypt to Syria, and during his short stay there, okay, July 47 BC. 47 BC, that's what that is. Julius Caesar came from Egypt to Syria, and during his short stay there, settled the affairs of the province and rewarded those states and individuals who had given him military aid in the Alexandrian War. Pay attention. Hyrcanus was appointed ethnarch of the Jews and high priest. So ethnarch ain't a monarch, ain't a king, but he's somewhat, you know what I mean? He got to share rulership, all right? So he somewhat a king and high priest. This is the Hasmonean prince named John Hyrcanus, all right? Hyrcanus was appointed ethnarch of the Jews and high priest with all the traditional privileges accompanying the latter office according to Hebrew law. Moreover, both these offices were to be hereditary. So the king's seat and the high priest seat are supposed to be hereditary, meaning you had to be a bloodline Israelite to be one of them. The Jews were promised autonomy and allowed to live, or more precisely, to be judged and to administer their eternal affairs according to their own law. Thus, Caesar put an end to Judea's status as a subject state and raised her political and legal position to that of a free state. As part of this, look at this. As part of this arrangement, the Jerusalem Sanhedrin was restored to all its traditional powers, including the exclusive right to judge criminal cases. One of the individuals whom Caesar rewarded for his courage and excellent military record in the Alexandrian War was, drumroll, Antipater. Antipater is Herod the Great's father. Remember that name. We go pull this family tree up, you're going to see something. All right? Was Antipater, the father of Herod, to whom he granted what? To whom he granted Roman citizenship, and as I have discussed elsewhere, the nature of this immunity by comparing it with the privileges granted by Octavian between the years 42 to 36 to Seleucid Rosas. Look at this right here, boy. This right here show you that who? Antipater was granted what? Roman citizenship. That's how the Herods got the Roman citizenship. It was because their patriarch Antipater showed great courage in the war in northern Egypt, Alexandria, and saved Julius Caesar. Saved him. So guess what he did? He granted him Roman citizenship. Roman citizenship. That's crazy, man. And it's the same thing that another Caesar did, right? To Seleucus, a Greek. All right. Look at this. In that paper I put forward. So this is how the Herodians who claim to be Israelites, or Paul who claimed to be a Benjamite, would have Roman citizenship. It's because he's related to Antipater, Herod the Great's father. Him and his descendants were granted Roman citizenship, y'all. Roman citizenship. Look at this. Look at this. Just in case y'all think I'm capping. Look at this. Now trip off this. Paul, we already got Paul on record saying the Herodians are what? His relatives, his kinsmen, related by blood. We already got on record that Paul is saying what? I'm a Roman, meaning he's a Roman citizen. Now we're showing you how someone who could be carrying an Israelite heritage or way of life can receive Roman citizenship. Well, you had to be related to the Herodians. based off what their patriarch did, Antipater, when he saved Julius Caesar in one of them wars in Alexandria, Egypt. He was granted citizenship. In that paper, I put forward a suggestion. Look at this. Look at this. They think this is a game, boy. Somebody better tell these young boys that I do this. Look at this. In that paper, I put forward the suggestion that the privileges Julius Caesar granted to Antipater and his descendants. Bag drop. What are we talking about here? What we talking about here? What is we really talking about? The man told you he related to him. He told you he a Roman citizen. He a Roman citizen. Now we showing you how the what? How the Herodians and their descendants received Roman citizenship. Ain't nothing else to talk about. That man a op, and he telling you through his own writings that he got a problem with the apostles. Y'all, the original mission was to destroy the Nazarene movement by force. So they just came in and switched it up and destroyed it with information. That's it. They injected this guy named Paul, Saul of Tarsus, who had the full backing of the Roman Empire behind him. Boy, what is you talking about? What is we really talking about here? Huh? What are we really talking about? In that paper, I put forward the suggestion that the privileges Julius Caesar granted to Antipater and his descendants were the same as those given later to Seleucus and his family. And what were those privileges, family? Huh? Right here. Right here. Oh, snap, my bad. Right here. Roman citizenship. Julius Caesar awarded Antipater and his descendants Roman citizenship, boy. Now, we shouldn't find nobody resembling Saul of Tarsus in the lineage of Antipater or Herod. One of the individuals whom Caesar rewarded for his courage and excellent military record in the Alexandrian War was Antipater, the father of Herod, to whom he granted what? Roman citizenship. Huh? Okay. Is we playing? Okay. Well, it ain't just go to him for any mealy mouth Negro who think we making this up. Huh? In that paper, I put forward the suggestion that the privileges Julius Caesar granted to Antipater and his descendants, which is Roman citizenship, y'all, were the same as those given later to Seleucus and his family. Bag drop. What are we really saying here? What are we really saying? Mally, what are you saying, Malaki? What are you really saying, Malaki? Somebody better tell these young boys that I dose this. What is we talking about here? Wow. Close family of coastal boy, B Antipater. Coastal B means Ben or son of. Bot is daughter of. Close family of coastal boy, son of Antipater. Good night. Good night. Good night. I don't even know what the problem is still. Y'all see Saul on there? Oh, Saulus. Huh? Can I highlight this? I can't even highlight it. Oh, yes. No, that's okay. Yeah, I don't see you. I put it right there on your face. There he is right there. Saulus. It's Paul. Saulus B. Antipater. Saulus, son of Antipater. Antipater saved Julius Caesar at the Battle of Alexandria, or that war that was in Alexandria. And because he was so brave and courageous, Antipater and his descendants received Roman citizenship. Paul said what? Salute Herodian, my relative, or Herodian, my kinsman, Romans 16 and 11. We go to the older version of the New Testament, what it say? Salute Herodian, my what? Or ask for the peace of Herodian, my relative. We click on kinsman, it say by blood relation. And the man is what? Has Roman citizenship. What are we really talking about here? Is there anything else to talk about? Is there anything else to talk? There he is right there. There your boy is right there. Saul, Paul. Now you may still think I'm still Paul. Well, no, that's still circumstantial. I can hear some of you Negroes try to learn the law. It's circumstantial, Malachi. Circumstantial, is it? Is that what you're gonna say? Let's go see how Saul's name is. Let's go see. Let's go see. Acts 9. And Saul, everybody knows this is Paul. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest and desired of him letters to Damascus, to the Senate. Now remember this, because we're going to read this. We're going to read this again. We're going to connect this all the way through. All right. Look at this. And desired of him letters to Damascus, to the synagogues. And if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. Let's look up Saul. Let's look up Saul. I think there's a game around here. Ain't no licking of the finger. No playing. Saulus. Uh-oh. Saul. The Jewish name of the Apostle Paul. The same as what? G4549. Saulus, boy. Paul is Saul. Saul is Saulus. Good night. Good night. Ooh, wee, ooh, wee, ooh, wee. See, I see Saulus right there. Please give me a 9 if y'all see Saulus right here. That's Paul. That's your boy Paul right there. Wow. That's Paul. Paul is Saul. Saul is Saulus. Saulus. Correct? Okay. Well, what's this here then? What's this here? What's this here? Close family of Coastal Boy, son of Antipater. Who we got down here? Who is that? Saul. Antipater is Herod the Great's father. Paul said in Romans 16:11, salute Herodian, my kinsman. We look in the older version, it say Herodian, my relative. We click on kinsman, it says blood relation. And he told you that what? He's a Roman, meaning he had Roman citizenship. All the descendants of Antipater had Roman citizenship. Why? Because Antipater saved Julius Caesar when he was in a war in Alexandria, Egypt. And because of this, Antipater and all his descendants, including who? Herod the Great. There Herod is right there. Herod B. Antipater, Herod the Great. All of them had Roman citizenship. What are we talking about here? That man an op. What is you talking about? Yeah, we got receipts. We got receipts. See, Paul was highly offended at the apostles in there, man. And you know, he had backing. He had backing. He had the whole Roman Empire behind him, man. You dig? He had the whole Roman Empire behind him. He really did. Oh, I didn't mean that. Okay, that's cool. That's cool right there. All right, let me go pull this up then. Everybody think we around here playing games, son. I think we playing games, son. Hold on. Somebody better tell these young boys that I do's this. Hold on 1 second, family. Ooh-wee. Somebody better tell these young boys that we do this. All right, now let me go ahead and pull this up for y'all. So I keep hearing a lot of Millie mouthing going on. This is not enough for nobody, I see. All right, well, hopefully this will be. All right, we're going to go ahead and dig into your boy here. He's highly compromised as well, though. Flavius Josephus. Them Flavians, boy. You start getting into their history, man. Hey, that was some boy. You talking about Titus, Vespasian? I think Domitian was one of them. You talking about some shit, man. Look, you know what I mean? And they didn't have their hands all the truth about this. The Flavian amphitheater, where we would use to fight as gladiators. We used to fight the animals as gladiators. The Flavian amphitheater was built with the spoils from the destruction of Jerusalem and her temple. Yeah. Flavians, boy. They was look, they had the control over your literature and everything. Believe it or not. But I want to show y'all about your boy Paul. All right, so we're finna go here. Works of Josephus, translated by William Winston. All right. All right, they go into from the death of Herod to Vespasian was sent to subdue the Jews, book 2. All right, the War of the Jews, or the history of the destruction of Jerusalem. Very, very powerful. All right, very, very powerful. Hold on for a second, y'all. Hold on for 1 second. What's up? What?
You want apple juice.
You want some apple juice? Here.
Thank you.
Drink all my juice, boy. All right, look at this, y'all. This right here is the Antiquity of the Jews. Page 538, if you got the same one I got. I want to show y'all this. All right. 213. We about to get into some disturbances of the city. All right. Oh, somebody better tell these young boys that we do this. This little joker just took my whole cup. And now Jesus, the son of Gamaliel, or Joshua, the son of Gamaliel, became the successor of Joshua, the son of Damius, in the high priesthood, which the king had taken from the other, on which account a sedition arose. And the king is Herod. See, he's installing his own priests as well. And the Sadducees were the priesthood. That's crazy. All right. Which the king had taken from the other, on which account a sedition arose between the high priests with regard to one another. For they got together. Let me show y'all this. This is serious. This ain't nothing to play with. All right, for they got together. This one. So they got together bodies, look at this, of the boldest sort of the people, and frequently came from reproaches to throwing of stones at each other. But Ananias was too hard for the rest by his riches, which enabled him to gain those that were most ready to receive. Coast of Boris also, and who? Saul. Saulus. That your boy right there. There he is. And there go Coastal Boy, his brother. Then we just pull up the. Man, I think everybody be thinking I be playing a little taste. Then we just pull this up. Look at it. Close family of Coastal Boy, son of Antipater. Down here. What we got right here? Coastal Boy and Saulus. Ain't that who we got? Wow. Wow. Okay, let's go back to the Josephus. I think we are playing, boy. Look at this. This is rare. Coastal Boys also, when Saulus did themselves get together a multitude of wicked riches. Wow. And this because they were of who? The royal family. Them boys is Edomites, boy. Paul is an Edomite. He's a member of the royal family. What are you talking about? And this because they were of the royal family. And so they obtained favor among them because of their kindred to who? Agrippa, bag drop. Everybody know Agrippa is a Herodian. That shit, I can go back to the, hold on. We can go back to the same, hold on, Agrippa on here too. Anybody licking no fingers, playing no games around here? Look at this. Is your boy Agrippa on here? I thought I seen Agrippa on here. No, I don't see Agrippa on here. Antipater, Herod, Philip, Antipater. But look, easy to show you that Agrippa and them is related too. They blood related. They blood related. Those are Edomites as well, or Idumeans. All right, look at this. These cats straight related to the Herodians, y'all. Look at this. Okay, coastal barbers also and Saul did themselves get together a multitude of wicked wretches, and this because they were of the royal family. And so they obtained favor among them because of their kindred to Agrippa. Dang. But still they used violence with the people and were very ready to plunder those that were weaker than themselves. And from that time, it principally came to pass that our city was greatly disordered and that all things grew worse and worse among us. Your boy Saul and his brother Kostabar, sons of Antipater, directly connected to the Herodians, was causing all type of havoc in Jerusalem. Then we just read in Acts the 9th chapter that he got permission from the high priest to go do his thing. When the high priest and them had fell out, Herod had installed a puppet high priest. You dig? And Saul and coastal barbers got with them and got together a few of the jack boys and went and caused havoc. It's really that simple. Right here. Look at this. So the men of power, perceiving that the sedition was too hard for them to subdue, and that the danger which would arise from the Romans would come upon them, first of all, endeavored to save themselves and sent ambassadors, some to Floris, the chief of whom was Simon, son of Ananias, and others to Agrippa, among whom the most eminent were who? Saul and Antipas and Costobarus, who were of the king's kindred. What is we talking about her? Dang. Y'all look. See, I got Romans 16:11 right down there because he said he was a Herodian. It was just Saul, Josephus causing all kind of havoc. Got a brother named Costobarus, showing you that the man already just off his doctrine before and after his conversion was problematic. Now we see that, hold on, he bloodline related. That's why them Romans rushed on the Temple Mount and got him up out of there. That's why it was unlawful to beat him. That's why he couldn't even be tried in Jerusalem. He had to come before some Roman kings and all that to be tried, and governors. Why? Because Antipater, who was the father of Herod the Great, was given Roman citizenship, him and all his descendants, because he saved Julius Caesar in Alexandria, Egypt, when they was at war. And for that, Antipater, the father of Herod the Great, and all his descendants received Roman citizenship. We just showed it. We got Paul claiming he's a Roman or got Roman citizenship. And he tell you in Romans 16 and 11 that the Herodians or the Herods in them are his relatives, his kinsmen. We even showed that in parallel New Testaments. See, if y'all get some understanding so far, give me a Yahoo up in the chat. Bless up, bless up, bless up. We ain't done. All right, this right here is Book 2, Chapter 20. It's Book of the Wars. Book 2, Chapter 20. All right, we'll zoom in right here. Everybody think we playing, man. Everybody playing no games, boy. Now, what you realize is there's a lot of double writing going on. The only excuse anybody has at this point would be, oh, that's a different Saul. Oh, that's a different Costobarus. Oh, that's a different Jesus. Oh, that's a different James. Oh, that's a different Bernice. Oh, that's a different Agrippa. Oh, that's a different Epaphroditus. How the hell is Paul saluting Nero's secretary in Philippians? What is we really talking about here? How connected was he? Epaphroditus in Philippians is Nero's secretary. He tell you in there, salute Caesar's house and everything. How this man was connected. What are we really? And of course he would be, because Antipater and his whole family was connected. The Herodians and the Roman connection still is solid to this day. Look at this. Book 2, Book of the Wars, or Book of the War of the Jews, Book 2, chapter 20. Chapter 20. Cestus sends ambassadors to Nero. The people of Damascus slay those Jews that lived with them. The people of Jerusalem, after they had left off pursuing Cestus, returned to the city and get things ready for its defense and make a great many generals for their armies, and particularly Josephus, the writer of these books. Some account of his administration. Josephus is highly problematic too. Highly problematic, Jack. Like, dang. Man, you know, like he and her calling Vespasian Caesar the Messiah. And it's the rabbinic, the Christianity and rabbinical Judaism is a product of Rome, product of them Flavians. But look, when both of these niggas, the Shimon Bar, Rabbi Shimon Bar YAHKI, and who you call this Negro heathen Flavius Joseph, whatever you want to call him, according to this and according to other accounts, both of them told Vespasian Caesar that he's the star that will rise out of Jacob, according to Numbers, what is that, 24:17, I think it is. They said that the messianic star that was to save Israel was Vespasian Caesar. I said, oh yeah, these cats are sellouts. The cats are sellouts. Oh man, they did that to preserve. You don't find that highly suspicious that the only literature or the only history from the 1st century is Philo, Josephus, and the Dead Sea Scrolls. Everything else you ain't got. Everything else is literature. You don't find that ironic that that's the case? That's crazy to me. Like, dang, that's all you have. 1st century Palestine, a 1st century, Israel or whatever. You got Philo of Alexandria, Herodian. He connected to Herods too. You got Flavius Josephus connected to the Herods too. Both of these cats was part of the emperor's court in Rome as well. And then after that, in the 1940s, they get the Dead Sea Scrolls. And those had to go under 40 or 50 years of editing before they made them public. So really, we all at the mercy of these translators. That's why it's important to understand the character of the creator and apply that to your life, man. Whatever don't sound right, you got a right to look at that with a jaundiced eye and say, nah, I'm good. Now look at this. After this calamity had befallen Cestius, many of the most eminent of the Jews swam away from the city, as from a ship when it was going to sink. Costobarus, therefore, and Saul, there he is again, who were brethren together with Philip, the son of Jacomus, who was the commander of who? King Agrippa's forces, ran away from the city and went to Cestius. But then how Antipas, who had been besieged with them in the king's palace, but would not fly away with them, was afterwards slain by the seditious, we shall relate hereafter. However, Cestius sent Saul and his friends at their own desire to Achaia, to Acts 18:12-27. Wow. To Nero, to inform him of the great distress they were in, and to lay the blame of their kindling the war upon Floris, as hoping to alleviate his own danger by provoking his indignation against Floris. Now, this Acts 18:12-27 goes into this place right here we call Achaia. What is Paul doing at the very spot Josephus said he was in? But this Saul or this Paul is an Edomite. He's related to Herod. He's related to Antipater, King Herod, or Herod the Great's father. And he has Roman citizenship. Roman citizenship was given to Antipater and all his descendants. Now we look into Josephus, and in the 1st century, there's a Saul who's related that's causing all kind of havoc. All kind of havoc. You see that? Ooh, wait. Ooh, wait. What else we got here? Also, what's up, son? What's good? It's upstairs. You drank the rest of my juice. Okay, go ahead. Go ask your brother. All right, let me run this down real quick. Family, bang, bang, bang. Let me go right here real quick. Hey, boy, I'm live. Okay, go upstairs and talk to him. All right, I'll be up there in a minute, boy. Handle your business. All right, that was Acts 18, right? Let's do Acts 18. Man, this stuff crazy. It's like, dang, this stuff like right here. You feel me? It's a lot of stuff going on, man, that you gotta like kind of like slow down and re-evaluate. You did, because a lot of us are actually following this dude. Okay, now then we just read where Saul had to go to Achaia and all that. Now look at the account of Acts 18 and 27. And when Gallio was the deputy of Achaia, the Jews made insurrection with one accord against Paul and brought him to the judgment seat. Dang. Yeah, Paul was, the disciples and them wasn't rocking with Paul, man. Now we always thought, well, those were the Pharisees. No, bro. Paul had a problem with the apostles. That was the problem. Acts 18, 27. And when he was disposed to pass into Achaia, the brethren wrote, exhorting the disciples to receive him, who, when he was come, helped them much, which had believed through grace. So Saul was in Achaia, and the Israelites who didn't believe in his movement made an insurrection against him. He tell you in what is that? 1 Timothy 1 and 15. Or 2 Timothy 1 and 15, that all that are in Asia be turned against me. Good night. Now I trip off this too. It's another cat Paul hollering about. All right. It's another cat he hollering about. I'm like, dude, look, what is really going on here? Right here. It's another cat he tripping with. Right here. Philippians 2 and 25. Who is this cat right here? Epaphroditus. Epaphroditus. That's how connected Paul, y'all. Epaphroditus was Nero's, like, this was like Nero's secretary. Nero is a Caesar. Huh? So what you gonna tell? Oh, well, that ain't the exact Epaphroditus. Like, y'all should start seeing a what they call it, not a habit, but repetition here. Look, if these aren't the same people, all these people are named the same thing. And Robert Eisman goes into it. He says it's a lot of double writing going on. You understand? They're composing literature. And here you go believing the whole thing, not realizing the game that's been played around here, man. All right? All the Creator requires of you is to remove the idols out of your heart, do righteous works unto others, regardless if you acquainted with them or not, and work on purifying your body. That's it. Remove the idols, none but the Creator. You understand? Do righteous works unto others out here, man. Right? That's what Messiah taught you to do. Do righteous works unto others. Stop being a scumbag all your life. Right? Yet I suppose it necessary to send to you Epaphroditus, my brother and companion in labor and fellow soldier, but your messenger and he that ministered to my wants. All right? Epaphroditus is Nero's boy, man. Like, what is really going on here? What is really going on here? And Josephus writes about the same dude. All right, look at this right here. Over in Ephesians 4 and 18 as well. Your boy Epaphroditus. Bernice, you got Bernice up in here. Boy, she was loose hips, boy. Swivel hips. Boy, she was everybody's woman. Look at this. But I have all, and I abound. I am full, having received of Epaphroditus the things which were sent from you, an odor, sweet smell, a sacrifice acceptable, well pleasing. Look at that. Epaphroditus. Now, do y'all know Josephus was writing to the same dude? What is going on here? Flavius Josephus against Apion or antiquity of the Yahudim, the Jews. Man, look at this, man. Yeah, I know, man. It's crazy. I suppose that by my books of the antiquities of the Jews, the most excellent Epaphroditus. Hold on, Kurt. Like, what are we really saying here? Y'all do know that this guy, all you gotta do is look up Epaphroditus and Nero. That's his secretary. I suppose that by my books of the antiquities of the Jews, most excellent Epaphroditus, I have made it evident to those who pursue them that our Jewish nation is of very great antiquity and had a distinct subsistence of its own originally. As also, I have therein declared how we came to inhabit this country wherein we now live. Those antiquities, look at this, y'all. Mr. Josephus telling you how far back the Bible goes. Look, those antiquities contain the history of what? 5,000 years. Backdrop. What is we talking about here? What are you doing? Don't do that. Put that down. 5,000 years, and are taken out of our sacred books, but are translated by me into the Greek tongue. Josephus is the one. Josephus is the one that gave you all that, man. He the one putting it in the Greek tongue. He telling you the Bible ain't no more than 5,000 years old. Wow, man. This stuff hurt, bro. But I found it quite ironic that Epaphroditus, you know what I mean, is in Philippians and in Josephus, right? I found that very, very interesting. Like, dang, dog. Like, I mean, how much more do we need? You see what I'm saying? How much more do we need? Ooh, wee. Am I overkilling it? I press around and win the overkill tonight, boy. Only 2 hours 47 minutes. Anybody want to come on here? Let me drop the link in the chat. See if anybody want to come on, chop it up. All right. Anybody want to come on, chop it up a little taste? Come holler at your brethren. Ain't nothing but love over here, family. Ain't nothing but a conversation to have. You get some understanding, give me a 9 up in the chat. Bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up. All right, that's the link. Anybody want to come on in, chop it up a little taste? All right. Yeah, dude was highly connected, though. Highly connected. Here, let me go back here. Dude was highly connected, man. I'm like, dang. I don't even know how we skipped all this. I don't even know how we skipped all this, family. Like, for real, for real. Did right here. Dang. Right here, your boy. All right, let me go ahead, man. Right here. Dang. All right, let me go ahead and share this real quick. I'm glad y'all get some understanding. We all good in the building, baby. Bless up. Bless up, bless up. Right. Bible about as old as the Jewish calendar. That's what I'm saying. Man, it's all in there. All you gotta do is slow down and look at it. Man, what up? I meant to get back at you earlier. You had called me. I had to do a whole bunch of running around before I came on to this class this evening, brother. Please forgive me. We gonna chop it up though. Believe that. Believe that. Tell all the brethren I said shalom. You lost connection, huh? I can be heard. I see 9s up in this deal. Bing, bing, bing. And how many of y'all knew Paul was there connected? Man, he connected. He blood related. He blood related. So the intelligence part of it ain't, you know, it shouldn't be that hard to fathom. I mean, let me show y'all a good book to get to. You know, brings it all into play. Matter of fact, 2 good books. Let me show them. And then on another chop session, we can come and get into some of them a little taste. Did easy work, family. Easy work. All right, right there. All right, so this right here, that's a good one, boy. Boy, I tell you, but them Nazarenes was in effect. Right? Yeah, and it's crazy. A lot of scholars or just people who are just students of history, you know, I've been looking into this stuff for a long time, man. And the consensus among the scholars is even if they don't agree totally with each other, they all agree Paul was teaching something different than the apostles. You feel me? Very slight surface level reading of the New Testament to show you that. Like, hold on, that's different. You dig? But we so busy matching up precepts, we never really slowed down and read the whole narrative. Without reading the whole narrative, you the precept your way out the scriptures. Like, boy, hold on. You dig? Dude, problematic. You know what I mean? And you know it was a problem when you start questioning him and everybody act as if like you talking against the creator. You like, no, it ain't that. I'm saying, dude, problematic. You understand? When you start getting into deeper writings and all that, man, look, and other writings like the Nazarene writings and all that, bro, they directly identify this cat. Like, hold on, he off. Dude was off, man. Like for real. Like he started his own movement based off his own quote unquote revelation. That's dangerous. It was not in the line. It was not in line with what the apostles was doing. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't in line. You know, some ways it was, but a lot of ways it wasn't. Get down, son. You want to get on camera, don't you, little joker?
Yeah.
So that's a good book right there. Operation Messiah, St. Paul, Roman Intelligence, and the Birth of Christianity.
Yeah.
Look like it's by a Russian. Thegis Voskulin and Rosemary Sheldon.
Yeah.
This is an excellent read. Off the chain.
Yeah.
Off the chain.
Yeah.
Saul, who changed his name to Paul. Saul died in battle. Yes, Saul, your boy Saul, he changed his name. I think it was like Acts 13, I think it was. I got another one for y'all too. Hold on for a second. This one right here is a good one. All right. Robert Eisenman. That's one of the videos we showed earlier. This just volume 1. I got volume 2. And he got them all in one book. All right. The one he got, when he got 2 volumes under one cover, yeah, that did like 1,000 pages. All right. Robert Eisenman, James, the brother of Jesus, and the Dead Sea Scrolls, the historical James, Paul, the enemy. Hold on, dang. Paul, the enemy. And Yahshua's brothers as apostles. So that's a good one too. Y'all get a chance. Make sure y'all check any of them out. You dig? All praises. What you say? Put it all out. Hold on, let me stop sharing the screen real quick. Bang. Okay, so we got that. We got that. Now we got somebody in the back chat. Let me bring the brother on. Brother named Martell. They bring the brother on real quick. Let's chop this deal on up, YAHKI. Peace, brethren, peace, shalom, YAHKI, blessings, blessings, blessings. Talk to us.
What's good? What's good?
What's good, family?
Not much, not much. How you been? You good?
Bro, I'm above ground. I can't complain. You know what I mean?
That's right. I've been watching y'all for years, man.
Okay.
Honor and humility. Yeah, I've been watching you guys for a long time. So I just wanted to like get some clarity on like Paul's writing about the wages of sin and stuff like that, because the commandments, the 10 commandments is something that us as bros we live by, and we go off of well, the wages of sin is death. You break one of these sins, that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now that we into the OSP and everything like that, and we get in this higher understanding and that spiritual nourishment, it's like I want to get a better understanding about, if his writings about the wages of sin being death is that accurate, or is we supposed to, just how does that work?
Well, look, when you dealing with Paul, and that's why I don't never say like everything he say is trash. You feel me? Because everybody, I feel, has some type of jewels to bring to the table. You know what I mean? It only comes down to when he's talking something that's like, hold on, you talking directly against what's really going on, right? Now, for any man, woman, or child to go against what they know is right, you understand? That is an internal war within yourself. And I would say, you know what? Look, always stand solid on what it is that you know to be true. You feel me? Now, any mess you spill, yes, you got to clean it up. The Creator has called us to be accountable and responsible. Every tub got to sit on its own bottom. We're not going to be able to blame anybody for us going off. We're not going to be able to throw it on somebody else. No, you spilled it. You got to clean it. You understand? The beautiful thing is that you're never too far from the Creator's grace, because all he's saying is turn away from what you're doing and fix what it is you broke. That's it. Now, when it comes down to dying, bro, everybody that came through this earthly plane, everybody that come through the matrix of a woman is going to die. You know what I mean? So the thing is this: anything that you're doing is wrong. You can either start now and cleaning that up and righting your wrongs, or you can wait till you get to the other side and it's gonna be even more on you. So I would just say, work on righting your wrongs now. You understand? Death is something that's coming to every last one of us, no matter if we the groovy guru, no matter if our farts smell like the third level of hell or not, death is coming for you. You see what I'm saying? And if that's the case, then we just prepare for that. How do we prepare for that? So that we can be in good graces once we cross over. It's a passage in the YAH'S says, every day you are writing on your spirit, your spiritual grade, and your abode in the heavenly kingdoms. Every day you doing that, because it's based off the righteous work that you do to others. That's what you graded off of. You know what I mean? That's what you graded off of, Ox. So yeah, the wages of sin is death, but we all gonna die. The thing should be is where where am I preparing to land once I cross over? Am I gonna be in the clutches? Am I gonna be in the clutches of these unclean, earthbound spirits, these rejects, or am I gonna be in a good place where I can keep ascending? You see what I'm saying?
Ethereum.
Ethereum. You already know. Yeah. I see you studying, huh? Yeah,
man. Like I said, I watch you guys every time y'all get on here for years, a couple years. So I mean, I'm from Los Angeles, but I'm out here in Houston now. So I mean, I rock with y'all. Y'all some soldiers, you know what I'm saying? I like to, I like to listen to a couple of different camps, but you guys have opened up a lot of different truths as far as like the Nazarene edition. Like these other camps, they're not talking about what you guys are talking about. And it's kind of like, well, what is we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? Like
after a while, it's the same soup warmed over. It's like, bro, we supposed to be like, put it this way,
progressive.
If any spiritual system anybody is a part of, if it ain't progression, if it doesn't stagnated, if it done plateaued, or if it's declining, run. Get away from that. You should always be challenging every day to be better and grow and learn to hear the voice of angels, or learn to hear the voice of the Creator. Like your spiritual system should be teaching you that, because that's the journey. You dig? You spending a small time in your existence. Look, your spirit and soul is immortal. It's eternal. You dig? You spending a fraction amount of time in the flesh. You might as well prepare for that which is eternal.
Definitely. Is Paul an Edomite?
Yeah. Paul is
what we know.
Paul is an Herodian.
He's definitely Herodian. That's crazy.
Yeah, he claimed, but the crazy part about it is this, bro. He claimed that he is a Benjamite. So that's on record. I am also of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Benjamite. I was circumcised the 8th day, but what I was trying to get people to see is this: Herod and them claim the same thing. You see what I'm saying? It's just what we got. Paul in Paul's letters, he come right out and tell you that salute Herodian, my kinsman, and the man had a Roman citizenship. That's the key right there. Because
that's something we knew though from scriptures, basic scriptures.
So we know he got Roman citizenship, but we never asked ourselves, why is he the only apostle with Roman citizenship?
Right.
What is how did he get Roman citizenship?
You know what's crazy? You went in on this topic about a couple months ago, and it was kind of like in the wind.
Yeah.
And now that you've attacked it again and went all the way in on it, it's like this is what we've been waiting for about this Paul thing. Because people, I think they thought they slept. Once a YAH'S started coming out, and we kind of started going in the other direction. once you start coming back with this teaching,
yeah, them brothers. They thought I cooled off for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, bro. Look, that old YAH'S is a powerful read, bro. I know
Yeah.
people. It's kind of taboo to a lot of people and all that, but bro,
Definitely.
if anybody can hear me, I'm saying, like, if you got any type of scientific mind and it's somewhat combined with your spiritual, man, look, you gonna love to read that. It's a powerful, and look, even if you don't agree with it, at least you're aware of it. Like, now you're aware of the heavenly proceedings and what happened.
I mean, just the fact that it says, it talks about the inspiration and how even the scripture tells us that it's all inspiration.
Yeah.
So that's next level knowledge right there. Like, who would, like, come on now, who would let that knowledge slip out of that? You gotta have a wall up and not want more knowledge in order to understand that everything that's written in scripture is inspired by the all person or the creator in the first place. So it all comes through a man, but when it gets to us, it's indirect inspiration.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like what you were saying earlier about us being the book.
Yeah.
So,
you are the book. That's the big mystery. We so stuck and looking and trying to find and level up and get even deeper. And it's like, bro, you are the book. You are the word made flesh. You look, the writing of the creator is in you and on you. Now, look, it said that, right? It said the new covenant is what? The commands written on your heart and in your mind. So you mean to tell me you, as a vessel of the creator, carries his words, his handwriting? Wow. Okay, well then you must be the book then. You're the book, and the creator constantly speaks through your soul. You feel me? All we gotta do is slow down and listen. You dig? You don't need to be validated by no other man. There's no man that can validate nothing. This is your experience. You understand? Like, you the only one that can view your life from behind your eyelids. Like, I tripped off that the other day. Like, nobody else has my vantage point of me. You know what I mean? I'm the only one inside my body looking out. You know what
Perspective.
I mean? Yeah. So this is your journey, brother. You know what I mean? I salute you on it too, brother, man. Believe that, man. Look, this right here rejoices my soul, because so many people was, talking crazy, and it's like, look, we gonna keep it coming out. And we'll keep bringing it out. You did. And I got some stuff coming out of a WASPy though that's gonna blow the top. It's gonna be a lot of bros. You know what I mean? Like, bro, there's some stuff coming out of there. It's just like, man, hold on. I gotta go get me a telescope. You know what I mean?
Man.
That's my next mission is a telescope. I gotta give me a telescope. I gotta start studying the heavens, because it's making claims about some stuff that make a lot of sense, man.
I'll be listening to Pam too.
So
I mean, with her going into some of those studies, and I mean, don't get me wrong, we all have our hiccups, and what she's been explaining lately is about, her hiccups and where she's finding certain things. But it's like, we could find, as humans, as people, we could find fault in just about anything if we do our studying it enough, So hey, back to the inspiration, what I'm saying? It's us being the book, and like you said, doing righteous work on others, and the fulfillment of the law in anything is to love your neighbor. So
that's right.
With that,
that's right. That's the whole moral of it all, brother. You know what I mean? With that, we have worldwide peace, man.
Right. Definitely. It also talks about how us bringing the kingdom of God on earth, and that a lot of that being us doing righteous works unto others, from us, building from here. A lot of us don't want to build, what I'm saying, together, because it's, we always look at the Judas situation, where we got somebody who's coming to break up what we got. But I think we should let that mindset go with this type of teaching, this OSPI teaching, because it's showing us something different. It's showing us that it's up to us to save us. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, we're responsible to save ourselves, and it's nothing wrong with building with each other. You know what I'm saying? Anything is possible if we come together and we work hard at it,
Yeah. And look, and even the past, like, examples of people who tried and failed. We shouldn't stop that just because some other people failed. Maybe they wasn't right inside or right spiritually.
Right.
You understand? So
Definitely.
I mean, we a whole new breed, bro. We not the
we not the 30 that our parents was.
Yeah, we used to get up in church and put the one finger up and tiptoe out of there. We ain't none of that. Like, we loud, direct, straight to the point. What's up? Let's get to the bottom of this, man.
Right. Definitely. Well, I salute to you. Thank you for letting me on, man.
Right on for coming on,
and
brother.
now that I know that Paul is an Edomite, that's a little bit of a better understanding.
Whoa.
And you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look at things a little bit different. But I'm gonna definitely stay true and try to keep that law to the best of my doings. I know I've had my, earlier you were talking about the fair share, you going off. I didn't have my go offs.
Oh, yeah. Hey, brother, we all do. I'm gonna tell you this, man. Every man and woman and child has their vices.
Right.
You feel me? Or have that battle they deal with between what's right and what's wrong every day, bro. It don't matter. A brother can have been reading the Bible 1,000 years. He's still banging. He still got, because that's the condition of the battle that we all face. So I don't get on her and act like I'm holier than thou. I don't get on her and act like I floated in the room or none of that. I just shoot it straight with the brothers and sisters, man. You know what I mean? When I run across something that resonates with me, I come share with y'all. Hey, look at this.
Yeah.
Check it out. You know what I mean? So, man, we gonna definitely get together and build. You got my email.
Yeah, I got you. I'm in the H-Town, so I'm not too far from the Lewis, but I'm from Los Angeles. So if you ever in LA, you need, you know what I'm saying, anything, I'm the man.
Or down in Texas, bro. Look, go ahead and text me. You on Facebook?
I'm not on Facebook, but I got your Cash App. I'll be sending in donations. I'll hit you with a Cash App, and then I'll hit you with my email in that Cash App.
Yeah, I was just saying, if you was on Facebook, whenever you decide to get on there, make sure you send a message and let us know. I'll put you in a couple of Facebook groups with the brothers, the Nazarenes and Faithists and all that, bro. So we can continue to build. There's a whole community of brothers and sisters out here, bro. Amped. That's all we do is encourage each other daily, laugh with each other, challenge each other on certain stuff. It's off the chain, bro. So I think you enjoyed it.
For sure.
All right, so my abundant blessings to you, my brother.
Blessings.
Peace, love, light, and healing within you and without you, YAHKI. Bless up.
Thank you, sir.
All right, brother.
Late.
Man, that's what I'm talking about, man. You dig? You never know. You never know who's listening, right? Who's being inspired, right? That put a smile on my face, man. I can go up here and wrestle with my little jokers, man. It's all good. Anybody else want to come on? Come on with it. You chop it up with your brother, man. What's the word? Chop it up with your brother. All right. Chop it up with your brother. Big Kyle P. Kyle P. What's the word, YAHKI? It's my brother right there, boy. Now he be dropping something. Y'all go like, subscribe, and share Cosmine Cal TV, man. I need to be supporting my art. We need to go ahead and get him on out there. You know, get everything expanded, because bruh go hard in the paint, especially when it comes to like topics don't nobody really be talking about. Like, you really ain't talking about, you feel me? Like the flood on a major level, and then comparing it to something you can see today and showing how like the earth and shifted 15 degrees. Man, Cal P come with it. I'm just telling y'all, you know what I mean? Like, he come with it. He really give you something to sit back and think about. You dig? Like, certain stuff you never tripped off of. But it's right there. He's like, dang, okay, yeah. You know what? You know what I mean? So salute to the God, Cosmine Cal. That's a good brother right there. Y'all go like, subscribe, and share. A lot of great information coming out of there. You dig? You look up. I think he went down there 6 hours last night. Yeah, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he was on. He was on for a little minute. You dig? Bronze Yo just start doing his lives too. Blessings to my brother. I actually know this brother. I've known this brother for a few years. When I found out he was the Bronze Yo, I had to, man, it's our key right there. And so y'all like, subscribe, and share. And also my brother, SHALOM TV. I don't see him in the chat, but y'all like, subscribe, and share to all these brothers, man. These brothers be coming with it, like coming with it. You know what I mean? And that we rather rap to you about it and get on some good levels, but it ain't nothing to debate what we talking about. Cal P in the building. I see you, King. What's the word, King? Peace to the God. Talk to me. Oh man, you muted. I don't know if you muted. You might.
What's going on, my baby?
My brother, bless up. Talk to me, brother. Tell the people something good.
Peace, 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 love and light, man. What's good with it?
Man, hey, bro, blessed in the above ground. You dig? It's
That's
all
right.
good.
That's right, man. I just come through, drop through, holler at you, my, make sure everything is everything, man. Hey, listen, you've been coming heavy on that boy Paul, man. He gonna have to do something about you. Hey, that nigga gonna come up out the grave on you, dog.
Hey.
Listen, that boy a fed.
Man,
Paul the feds.
Hey, bro.
Man.
Hey, I don't even know how anybody see it. Heard. Matter of fact, while you on her, Cal P, while you on her, let me share this. Let me share this right while you on her. I'm glad you on her. Now, say me and you was doing something that was revolutionary, right? Something that was against the state. Okay. Now say that's us, right? I'm about to read this Acts 21 and 27. Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna read it down just a little bit. Now trip off this. All right. We already know he's a Roman citizen, right? We already know he related to the Herodians in there, right? Now he go back to Jerusalem a second time, and he about gets killed in the temple because they ain't with dude. They feeling dude on some madness, right? Now look at this.
Right.
Acts 21 and 27. And when the 7 days were almost ended. See, so James forced Paul to take a Nazarite vow in front of the thousands of Nazarenes that was there because they got word that Paul was teaching foolishness. All right, so he say, look, take this vow and pay for the vows of everybody else that's here that's going to take it so that everybody will know you walk orderly because they had gotten word that he was teaching something totally different. So look at this. So he almost finished his vow. Look what it says. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple, stirred up all the people and laid hands on him, crying out, men of Israel, help. This is the man that teacheth all men everywhere against the people and the Torah and this place. And further brought Greeks also into the temple and have polluted this holy place. Dang, look at this. Verse 29.
They're talking about Paul, right?
They're talking about Paul, right?
So they done grabbed him up in the temple. They done grabbed him up.
Yeah, look at this. For they had seen before with him in the city Trophius and Ephesian, whom they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple. And all the city was moved, and the people ran together, and they took Paul and drew him out of the temple, and forthwith the doors were shut. And as they were about to kill him, tidings came unto the chief captain of the band. A band is an army. A chief captain is somebody that has authority over 1,000 soldiers. A centurion only has authority over 100. So this cat right here is a chief captain in the Roman military. The band is an army. All right. So it says, and as they went about to kill him, tidings came into the chief captain of the band that all Jerusalem was in an uproar, who immediately, now remind you, this Nazarene business, it's like me and you having a problem, right?
Right.
And he immediately took soldiers and centurions and ran down unto them. And when they saw the chief captain and the soldiers, they left beating of Paul. Then the chief captain came near and took him and commanded him to be bound with 2 chains and demanded who he was and what he had done. And some cried one thing, some another among the multitude. And when he could not know the certainty for the tumult, he commanded him to be carried into the castle, put him on house arrest. Look at it. And when he came upon the stairs, so it was that he was borne or carried of the soldiers. They had to carry him out of there for the violence of the people. For the multitude of the people followed after, crying, away with him, away with him. Verse 37. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, may I speak unto thee who said, "Can you speak Greek?" So Paul was even fluent in Greek. But the whole point is this. The whole point is this. What is a centurion who has the charge over 1,000 soldiers doing, sending Romans to protect a quote unquote Israelite who into it with other Israelites for?
He's sending his guards to protect a Roman.
A Roman. That's the point. That's the point. Because they would have never done that. They would have never done that for average Israelite.
He'd have died right there.
He would have died right there because that's Israelite business. That has nothing to do with the Romans. But the fact the Romans and a chief captain at that, right, who got the command over 1,000 soldiers, went in there and got Paul. Why? Paul's a Roman. Paul's a Roman citizen. You understand?
So that means Paul must have been known as a Roman citizen, and then he turned and spoke to the captain in Greek.
In Greek.
Come on.
Where we at now?
I don't see no other Benjamites or I don't see nobody from the tribe of Judah, Ephraim. I don't see none of them speaking Greek nowhere else.
Let alone writing it either. You know what I mean?
Okay. So Herodotus, not Herodotus, but Herod says he's a Benjamite, correct?
Right. Well, now
Paul said he a Benjamite, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, when the land was allotted to the different tribes, did Benjamin's part, was it north?
Well, Benjamin is with the southern tribes. So Judah and Benjamin is southern.
Okay.
More southern. Yeah.
Okay. Because they speak, because see, they would have spoke Greek in Turkey.
Right.
You know what I mean? Being a Benjamite, he would have. A Greek. They would have spoke that all down the Levant. That Greek would have been spoken in the Levant at the time, but not by them Judites. Not by them Israelites. So I'm wondering, is because where does Herod family go back to, and are they those Assyrian kings?
Right, the Assyrians who came and took the northern kingdom captive.
Right.
Yeah.
And just usurp the title of Benjamin, being that he would have ruled over him.
Yeah. Now look, Benjamin's symbol is a ravenous wolf. I send you forth as what? Sheep in the midst of what? Wolves. Wolves. Yeah, Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. That's the symbol. That's how Benjamin, supposedly get down. It's crazy that Paul is identified as a Benjamite, and then when you look at his doctrine and how it's totally opposing to what the other brothers was on, he definitely was a ravenous wolf before and after his so-called spiritual experience. He was a ravenous wolf the whole time.
He tried to kill James, right?
Yeah, I pulled that up last week. Straight threw him off the. Let me see, I got that still up here.
Yeah, he threw him off the high place up there in the in one of the meeting rooms, right?
Yeah,
broke his leg or something.
Yeah, broke it. Thought he was dead. I'm like, damn, this dude is off the chain. Then went to Damascus looking for all them. I said, yeah, dude is on one. You know what I mean?
And look at Paul's nature. Look at his nature. Look how he act. He act like the Greeks.
Yeah, bro.
He's a warrior. He obviously in with somebody. How was he arresting these people? You gotta be in with somebody. You know what I mean? You gotta have power to arrest somebody.
Yes, you gotta have authority. That's right, bro.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta have power. So who he was with?
That's right.
Who gave him his backing? Because ain't no way you just going around killing people and imprisoning them and busting their head and running them up out of places. Ain't no way you doing that just on your own.
Exactly.
Who was backing you then?
That's what
I
I'm saying.
guarantee you the Romans was backing you then.
Yeah. Because being that, again, I showed the family lineage of your boy Paul, and then how he's directly related to Antipater, who is Herod the Great's father. So he bloodline related. Now Antipater saved Julius Caesar the war that they had in Alexandria, and because of his courage and what he did, he granted Antipater, Herod the Great's father, the Idumean, Roman citizenship, him and all his descendants. You see what I'm saying? I read the article. I read the article earlier. Bro. There it is right there. So you got him claiming the Herods or his family, Romans 16:11. Then you got him in Acts 22 saying, look, I'm a Roman. You about to beat a Roman. Hold on, dang. Now that makes sense. Oh yeah, he got to get tried. He got to get tried in front of a Roman approved judge. He look, if they try him in Jerusalem, you dig?
He gonna beat the case. They can't even hold him.
They can't even hold him. He got to go. You know what I mean? And you see the Secret Service, they come down there, they get him up out of there, and they put him on house arrest in the castle. Whose castle? Bro, you talking about Agrippa and them. Who is Agrippa? Agrippa descended from the Herods as well.
He Herodian too.
Come on, bro. You can't even get past it. Then when he get in front of Agrippa, he say, I wish all y'all was just like me, because Agrippa say, you almost convinced me to be a Christian. He say, man, I wish y'all was all like me except these chains. Now trip off this. Let me show everybody this. He's in front of Agrippa and Bernice. Agrippa and Bernice, two Herodians. And we just said that Paul's an Herodian, right? Trip off this. Bernice bed hopping. She was one of them high class hoes that was passed around by Agrippa and all them, right? Now trip off this. Paul is in front of some adulterous, incestuous Idumeans, Herodians, right? And he say, I wish all y'all was like me except me being bound. John the Baptist was in front of the Herodians, right? And he told Herod, it ain't lawful for you to be having sex with your brother's wife. And they got his head cut off. You see? Trip off this. John the Baptist, a true one, rebuked the shit out them damn Herodians when he was in front of them.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing the game. A true Nazarene, the same, rebuked them when he was in
Wait a
front
minute.
of them.
Wait. Was Herod's wife a Jew?
Yeah, Jewess. It says a Jewess. Yeah.
That's how he get his Benjamite claim. That's how he get his Benjamite claim.
There it is.
There it is. That make a lot. Hey, listen. I understand why these boys leaving you alone, Melly. They don't.
They don't want nothing. Tell them boys I do this, Cal P. I do.
Man,
easy
I'm
work.
telling you. Listen, because I'm trying to tie it in. How does this dude who got Greek lineage, Turkish lineage, come to say he a Benjamite? Yeah. He married into the line. Yeah. He married into the line, and since his kids is, guess what I am?
Yeah, exactly.
Woo!
Exactly.
Cole, hey, Herod wasn't no, he wasn't no.
Man, him and his sons and them, his daddy, him and his sons and them, man, them cats was ruthless, bro. They weren't playing with nobody.
You was telling me one time, and I think it's through the Gauls, the Roman Gauls, that somehow Josephus was tied into that Roman line. Yes. He was Arius Piso.
Man, bro. You remember I brought a name up earlier called Epaphroditus. Epaphroditus was Nero's secretary, right? Epaphroditus was the one that stopped the Piso, because remember the Pisos and they wanted to kill Nero at first.
Right.
Epaphroditus, who Paul writing to in the Philippians, who Josephus writing about in Josephus is Nero's secretary that exposed that the father, I forgot what the father, Arius' father's name, him.
Copernicus Piso.
Yeah, they exposed him, and remember he got executed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
he got killed by Nero.
Yeah, but see, Nero's secretary Epaphroditus that Paul is writing to, and Josephus is writing about, was the one that exposed Nero to this plot. It was called the Peace-Sowing conspiracy. So the fact, man, look, when you start looking at all this stuff, you start seeing the Flavian signature everywhere. You know, about
everywhere.
The Flavians, the Herods, and the Pisos, bro. That stuff is so intertwined. It's scary. When
They the same people, ain't they?
Yeah, boy.
They the same people.
Yes. Yes. If you get into it, you're gonna be like, good night, boy.
Because look, we can listen. The thing is, I'm reading how Josephus writes. I'm reading Josephus, but then I would look at Paul's work, or I would look at the Gospels.
Yeah.
And the style of writing of Josephus is exactly the styles of writing of the Gospels. I'm like, wait a minute, man, is this the same dude?
Same dude. I'm saying, like when you when a lot of brothers and sisters really get into it, when you really start connecting the dots, you're gonna keep running into the same names and the same family. And a lot of the times they wrote under different pen names. You know what I mean?
What I found out, yep, that's exactly what I found out. And from my understanding, is through Josephus's line that we get who end up becoming Caesars somehow, is the line we get the very first pope from.
Man, hey. It's a documentary called Caesar's Messiah. Bro, if y'all YouTube and watch that, it's called Caesar's Messiah by Joseph Atwill. He lay out some major evidence, bro, that points right to that. You're gonna be like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Man, I was just digging into that, man, and it's so much you know, they showing how they blood related. You know what I mean? This ain't no stretch. You dig what I'm talking about? Like
all the way up to Constantine. Constantine took on the label of Flavius too.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They're bloodline related.
Yeah.
So we looking at it as a caliphate. A caliphate is the right to rule by blood. And that's why Professor Robert Eisenman, when he's talking about James, he's saying that movement that started with Yahshua was a caliphate, because who took over right after him was his brother, James.
That's right.
And right after him was another brother named Simeon Bar. I got an echo. He has another brother named Simeon Bar, and then you start looking at the hold on, let me mute you, Carol. Maybe that's it. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, it's a little better. And then so Yahshua, then you got his brother James, then you got a brother named Simeon Bar. And then when you start looking at the list of his brothers, you see who? You see James, you see Simon or Simeon, you see Judah, you see all these cats who were taking over the movement. You understand? But by the time Jerusalem fell and all the Paul shenanigans and the dust settled, trip off this, all our literature is being printed up in the literary houses of the Flavian, you dig? And all our literature is coming from overseas in a foreign language. You see? Josephus himself and the Rabbi YAHKANON ben YAHKI, both of them told Vespasian Caesar that he was the Messiah. That Numbers 24 and 17 apply to him. You know what I mean? And that it was prophesied that he would come into Israel and do what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they spared themselves. So rabbinical Judaism and Christianity come out of Rome. All of it come out of Rome.
So basically, what we're looking at is one big family infight. And this is why when we get the revelations that we get up out of WASPI, when you start to look back at history, all of this stuff start to make sense. It never really made sense. And then WASPI allow you to put it on the timeline and show you why this should have happened at this time. You know what I mean? And so once you start putting it together like that, man, it start to really unfold things. And then you get to looking at history like, well, wait a minute, it's a big old gap in here that something was going on, that we should see something. And then once we look a little further, we find something. You know what I mean? It's deep, man. It's deep. A lot of this stuff, man, is mind blowing. Honestly, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, just take people time just to sit down, bro, and just slow down. Like, we got all the precepts, right? Like, as Israelites, we got all the precepts, bro, but we never ask ourselves, how do we have all the same precepts but different understanding? Like, we all got the same precepts. You look at any a devout Israelite that study for real, if you look in the inside of his Bible, you're gonna see so many notes and highlights and underlines and you know what I mean, precepts next to this, that. We got so many precepts, right? But all of us have different understanding. How is that possible? How is that possible? We never realized that the Bible was written by different scribes at different times under different agendas from different perspectives. You understand? Jeremiah tell you about the false scribes who have a lying pen that work falsehood. So if you're making your boast and that you keep Torah or that you keep law, you know what I mean? He's like, how when the scribes have written falsehood into what you call the Torah? You see, so it's a lot, man. But once you understand the character of the Creator, you understand it's real simple. And that's the beautiful thing about it. We ain't on here telling you something and taking something away from you, but not giving you something back. And what we giving you back is far more simpler and easy, and it'll make so much more sense for you. I can do that no matter what my condition, no matter what my social status, no matter what my financial situation. If you know the character of the Creator, no matter what your locality is in the earth, if you know the character of the Creator, the service of the Creator can be done. You see what I'm saying? And so the service of the Creator has to be universal. It can't be based off a border. It can't be based off tribal warfare. It can't be based off skin tone. It can't be based off financial status. None of that. What the service of the Creator has to be so universal and so simple that anybody, no matter what their condition, can perform it. You see, so we ain't on here taking something away from you and you feeling hopeless. No, look, just keep looking at the classes, man. That's all we bringing out. We bringing out all the higher light. You understand? I know you tired of just the same old dry Torah portions every Saturday, or tired of the same old rhetoric, you know, make the white man kiss your boots, or we gonna put him in slavery, or and really no coming together, no cohesion to affect no type of righteous change for real, no building or nothing. You know what I mean? No, like nothing to prepare you higher to be better, right? Around here, we challenge you to what? Live to your highest light. That means with every fiber of your being, do good in every situation that you're dealing with, man. Look to be that light in somebody's life. Put a smile on somebody's face. Do what you know is right. Hug on somebody. You understand? Remove them idols out your heart. Your Creator is sufficient. After all, he speaks through your soul anyway. And work on purifying that body. You understand? Start with getting off that flesh. You gradually start getting off. Some people can go cold turkey, others gotta wean themselves, but you'll get there. That's the whole point. Talk to me, Cal.
Yeah, the more you work at it, the easier it becomes. It becomes what we would call second nature, and what WASPI explains to as organic. It becomes a thing repetitive, a thing done. You know what I mean? And overcoming the physical desires, period, is the hardest part of faithism. But the hardest part of the physical desire is your stomach. So once you can overcome your diet, the rest starts to fall in place. You know what I mean? It's truly levels to this, and it's a process. You know what I mean? But with that discipline of self, you know what I mean, you start to overcome overcome your physical nature, in which pushes, and how you gain spiritually is opposite of how you gain physically. You dig what I'm talking about? So you got to take in to gain physically, right? But you always got to give away to gain spiritually. So once you do this act for yourself, this changing of diet, it raises spiritual ability on the other side. So from giving away, or aggregation of desire and spirit and self, your spirit grows. You dig what I'm talking about? So just remember that, y'all, man. This is a wonderful time to actually exist in. You know what I mean? We are at the cusp of an etheric time of light, a semi-dan. We are 26 years from the first 200 years of the Cosmon era. And there is a dichotomy change. You know what I mean? And you see those, they call it being woke today, or waking up. You know what I mean? And then there are those who are woke, and then there are those who are actually waking people up. There's two different, it's two different types of things. You dig what I'm talking about? That's going on all at the same time, because everybody ain't on the same level. Everybody not in it for the right reason also. You know what I mean? So we find a lot of stagnation in some of our in some of the, you know, the inner workings of these social groups. We find them a little lacking. You know what I mean? Because there is no organic spiritual work on self first to right self, so you can put a bunch of right selves together to make one good thing. You see what I'm saying? And this is how our community is going to work. It's not going to be rushed. It's not going to be, it's going to come together, and it's going to be truly communal, and it's going to change the world. You know, so I would advise everybody, man, you got any inclinations towards spirit, or you have a drop of melanin in your body, well, then I say that a WASPI should be mandatory reading for you. Don't be pigeonholed in a spiritual box. Don't let anybody, not even God, scare you into being comfortable. You should always be on the move. You dig what I'm talking about? Always trying to seek higher light. You know what I mean? And attune yourself by your diet to the voice of the Creator, because you never needed Jesus and or Yeshua, however you want to say it. You never needed him, and he told you that himself. He said, "Don't praise me, praise the dude that sent me." You dig what I'm talking about? And as a matter of fact, everything that you seen me do, I done walked on water. I done tripled up on some fish. I done got into the kitchen, whipped up some loaves of bread on you. I done turned this water into some Pinot Grigio. You dig what I'm talking about? I done did all this stuff. I done raised niggas from the dead. I done kicked spirits out. He's saying, everything that you seen me do, you can do. And not only you can do it, but you can do it better than me. Well, how, Jeebus? You get what I'm talking about? How, Jeebus? So logically, what Jesus was trying to tell you is the same thing that I am, that he is, you are. That simplifies the whole God thing right there too. Understanding that God must be a man. He must, because Jesus said, I'm the son of God. Okay, cool. But The same thing I'm doing, you can do, young Malaki.
Yeah.
So how if I'm not the same thing you are? So it was some mysteries that was hidden when he was dropping this game on the disciples, which I'm starting to think this. You gave me this thought when in Acts, when it tell you what you got to do to be an apostle, right? When it lets you know the people who would have been around Jesus the most was his family.
Fact.
And to be an apostle, you had to have walked with me. You had to know me. We was one at the foot, one at the head in the bed. You dig what I'm talking about? We was in the bathtub together. You dig what I'm talking about? We go way back. You dig what I'm talking about? You had to see me when I was at my highest and my lowest and see me come through it and then be able to tell about it. To be an apostle. So it makes sense that James and the rest of them niggas was family.
Hey, bro, when we get to that book I showed, Robert Eisenman's book, James, the brother of Jesus, bro, he got a section in there where he go into deep detail on how most of the disciples was actually his brothers. I say, good night, brothers and cousins. I said, what is we talking about here? This is a whole family that was wiped out by the Herodians, bro. Because don't forget, John the Baptist was his cousin. This is a whole family that was wiped out by these cats. And here come Paul. And we never realized this. Paul, the one he warned you about. Watch him right there. I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. He claimed he a Benjamite. Benjamin is a ravening wolf. You'll know him by their fruits. Now, you think it's a coincidence his brother them firing shots at everything he put out there? Oh, no, go clean that up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, in next few classes, I'm going to be getting into that. I'm going to be going into Robert Eisenman's book. I'm going to be going into the other book I just brought out, Operation Messiah, and lay it on out there and then re-examine these scriptures. We showed last class that Paul is the first one to write when it comes to the New Testament. If you want to do a chronological order of it, based off Christian scholars dating, Paul was the first one to write. It wasn't a Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. It was Paul. We got a problem now then. Because that means the Gospels come out after Paul is writing. So that means, guess what? They are influenced by Paul and not the other way around, Jack. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on, man, that people really ain't tripping off of. And when you look up the list of the chronological New Testament. It's a list. They're going to give you the books of the New Testament and the date in which they was written. Your boy Paul Paul had about 7 letters out before a gospel even came out. Good night. What is we talking about here? What is we really talking about? It ain't really nothing else to talk about, because once you got the chronology together or the timeline, then you're going to be forced to look at the Bible differently now. Like, hold on. How is he writing before? What is really going on here? And then when the dust settles, Constantine Flavius, he had a Flavian name on him too. He did. When the dust settles and all the ecumenical councils start being held, starting with Nicaea and all the way up, they held Catholic councils all the way up to the 1960s. From 321 AD or 325 AD up to 1960, they were having ecumenical councils refurbishing and refashioning what you call Catholicism or Christianity. What are we really arguing about here? Nothing. You ain't really arguing about that. You really don't even know the powers at play. You understand? For us to arrive at a mindset of being this feeble in mind when it comes down to our spirituality and all that, you really don't know the mind game that has been played here. Right? If you really want to start with the compiling of what we can do the Old Testament too, but start with the compiling of the New Testament. How was it compiled? When was it compiled? Get into the history of it. You know what I mean? If you having problems getting real deep, I usually don't even reveal how I get down, but y'all start going to Google Scholar. Don't just do a regular Google search. Go to Google and type in Google Scholar, hit enter, go to that website. You're going to see case law and you're going to see article. Click on article, type in what it is you're looking for. It'll blow your mind with pop up. That's where the scholars hang out at. You know what I mean? That's where they exchange papers and all that and ideas and theses. They put their stuff up on Google Scholar, not regular Google. Go there, it'll blow your mind. The stuff you start finding, like, dang, dog, that is crazy. This stuff is out here. You know what I mean? So, yeah, bro, all praises, brother. Bing, bing, bing. Okay. Yeah.
Heavy. 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 And it's more being revealed every day, man. You know, this is crazy. This is crazy, but I love it, man. This is a great time to be alive. You know what I mean? Because I'm old enough to have seen the old broken system at its worst, and I'm gonna be old enough to see it decay and fall away. I'm gonna be able to see the change. You know what I mean? I think I'm gonna live to be an old man. I'm gonna be an old OG. You did what I'm talking about.
Hey, may that prophecy be right on your life, brother. You know what I mean? Hey,
oh yeah, man. I'm gonna stay up on it, man. You stay up on your physical, man. It'll help you out in the end of the day. Absolutely. You know what I mean? It'll help you out in the end of the day. And we gonna be able to see the switch, the change. You know what I mean? And if you really conscious and you're watching right now, you see it.
Yeah, you see that.
Yeah, you see it happening right before you. And we to the point in this information era that we almost got too much information. You dig what I'm talking about? Ain't nothing really that we can't go to prove or disprove that doesn't have a ton of information behind it now today.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean? So a lot of the things that have been historically hidden by societies and corporations and understandings and groups and all that stuff is spilling out, you know, and they can't hide it no more. You know what I mean? It was one thing, I think, I forget, it was some years ago. It was a Christian pastor who was saying that he equates the internet with the biblical sword that's sharp. There's the double-sided biblical sword.
Yeah.
He said, cut coming in, going. He said, because it'll tell you if you need something, it'll tell you the truth and it'll give you the lie all at the same time.
Exactly.
So that stuck with me spiritually. It set right with me. And he's absolutely correct looking at it as an older fella. You dig what I'm talking about? He was absolutely on point even then. And this is some years ago.
Right.
You know. Right. But man,
I know we supposed to be me, you, C-Live, we supposed to be on the Storm Black Man podcast more. You know.
Oh yeah.
I ain't heard back from Hilltop.
Yeah, I ain't heard nothing either. So, but you know, we can always go through Chop It Up with my brothers, man. Hilltop be on some real stuff, man. He know how to come up with them names, them titles for them videos, man. That boy.
Yeah, boy. Yes, sir.
That boy come up with some mess. You dig what I'm talking about? Shout out to Hilltop, man. Shout out to Scoring Black Man podcast, man.
Yeah, we're gonna be over there talking about the Hebrew calendar tomorrow, the reckoning of time, all this. It's supposed to be a few Israelites on there with different perspectives, whatever. So it should be a good session. You know what I mean? Credit.
Yeah, I get.
You know how we do. So,
yeah, well, as soon as he holler at me, you know what I mean. I make sure I'm by the computer. You know what I mean, so you can share and show whatever you want to do. You know what I mean. Yeah, that I'ma definitely be there. That ain't nothing. That's light work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And hopefully, you dig what I'm talking about. They go in there and act like they got some sense. And you know, let Cosmon just talk to you, know, just talk to me. You dig what I'm talking about? I ain't got no problem with you, so just talk to me.
Yeah,
But if you trying to,
we're gonna establish order out the gate. I ain't even do, man. Look, whoever got some questions about what's being said, ask them one at a time. We're not doing 100 people ask one man 100 questions at the same time. Nothing to get done like that. I'm right out the gate establishing order. Other than that, we wasting our time. What are you even on here for?
Yeah, if we ain't gonna have no discipline, no decorum,
yeah,
ain't no need for me to even be there. What am I wasting my breath with and time with y'all? I already got the knowledge.
Right.
I'll leave you where you at. That's what you don't want me to do.
Right.
I'll leave you where you at.
I'm already here, Bob. Man, it was good to see the brother Martell. And like I say, it was my first time even talking to the brother. I've never seen his face either, but you never know who's watching.
Right, man.
He was like, yeah, the old Waspy. I said, oh, okay, yeah, bro. He said, no, I've been watching. I said, okay. What's up, bro?
Well, shout out to the Creator Gang, man. Peace to all the righteous gods and the Nirvanian goddesses. Shout out to the King Malaki, man, and be looking out. I got something for you. You already know. And go on the Cosmon Cal TV. That's KOSMON CAL TV. Sub, like, share, man. Hit it up. For some more introspective deep dives on information. You know, I just go on little tangents and then just tell you what I find. So and then we just tie it up and clear everything up with that OWASP understanding. So going through, sub, like, share, man. Sub, like, share, the honor and humility. Thank you, my brother, for having me come back through, man. And yeah, hopefully we'll be on there tomorrow, man.
Hey, bro, anytime.
Lay it out
there. Know that, bro. You know what I mean?
All the time, man.
Peace. My brother Carol, my brother SHALOM, brothers go deep when it come down to the cosmogony, the cosmology, the prophecy, timetables, spirituality, you name it, it's all there. You know what I mean? We the created gang. You know what I mean? Ain't just
gang, boy. Hey, they hate we so saucy too. You dig what I'm talking about? We don't turn down on none of it. You dig what I'm talking about? So, and let's look how cold niggas is. We took gang, something that they just totally thought was negative and made it a positive.
That's right.
This is what faithists do, man. All good things in the world come from faithists. Y'all remember that.
That's right.
You dig what I'm talking about? Be good to your brothers, man. I love you, bro, man, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, peace.
Bless up, brother. Yeah, that's my brother Cosmon Cal P. Y'all go ahead and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Deep breakdowns concerning everything I just said. You did go deal with the brother and all the brothers. We got a sisterhood, Nazarene Faithist Sisterhood channel. Shalom and peace to the goddesses. Shalom and peace to the gods. You did create a gang. Gang is an acronym. It means gods and Nirvanian goddesses, right? Because that's what we all are in training, right? None of us are worshiping. You hear me say it was a peace to the God. I ain't worshiping. I don't worship no God. I'm down with the Creator. All right, so it's all good. Peace, love, light, and healing. We got the brothers on deck. We got the sisters on deck. We got the healers and the herbalists on deck. You understand? We got the skills. We got the will. You dig? In a minute, you're going to see an oasis in the paradise dealing with the faith. It's the created gang. You dig? So much love. You dig? I salute all those that came before me. Abundant blessings to you all. May everything that you touch turn to gold. I salute you all in the name of the Creator. May you be blessed, wisdom, healing, love, abundance, peace, protection, righteousness, victory, all of it. I salute you all in the name of the Creator. Bless up, clip up, create a gang. Shalom.